1.
Hello and welcome to the honest-wargamer. I'm your host Adam, and today I'm joined by Rob. That is as much as I've got, to be honest.
That isn't going to go well for the first 5 seconds of YouTube. People normally jump away, and that's where it is. Hello, welcome to honest-wargamer. I'm Rob and Adam. It's too hot in the main studio today, so instead we've moved to
the side studio.
The side studio. And we are going to do a tier list for Age of Sigmar. We're live on Twitch. We're joined by the Twitch chat, but if you're watching this on YouTube or listen to it as a podcast, there's also a really big fan to try and cool us down because it's quite hot here in the UK. So we're going to do a tier show, but this isn't going to be a which armies are the best tier list.
Okay.
Right? Because in my opinion, Adam, as the #1 Siege player,
all of the armies are the same.
Not that. And as Adam, the #1 Beast Chaos player at the minute, like I think that a lot of armies, like that's a big wedge, right?
What do you mean? Like,
I think the skill cap is so high, right, and the game is so playable at the minute, that I think lots of armies can go 5-0.
Yeah.
And so I think the difference between them is a little bit too slight.
Yeah, that's fair.
Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say.
That's fair.
Like, because I think loads of armies have got game. Do you think that there's a absolute standout clear best army in Age of Sigmar?
Seraphon.
Seraphon. Okay. I mean, yes, they're strong. They're strong. Absolutely. They are great. But like,
just because they're not posting good results doesn't mean they're bad.
Of course. Well, we are kind of backed up really quickly to start this bit off by the stats. So just give me a moment.
The statos?
The statos. So old statos, Rob and Ziggy have put some statos together.
And just put it as us two.
Yeah, it's me and Adam mainly, but you know they try. So Bone Splitters will ignore because it's like an outlying amount of information. And then Seraphon's only at 56%, right? And then between 45 and 56, there's a load of different armies.
Do you think Seraphon is only that low because people are trying to be hipster?
It's a great question.
If they just took like the good list, they'd probably just win.
It's a great question. Like, I think
because people are all like, "Ooh, let's try this instead now because it's new."
No,
GHG.
I honestly think that they've lost just enough, and the points went up just enough in the right situation.
Yeah, Salamanders went up by so much.
Well, no, what I mean is like if you take Ridge's list, which like I've just been editing down as a battle report, like he had 2 2s and a 1 of Salamander and 30 skinks, and so that's like 3 major threats with the Slan.
Okay.
Yeah. But like loads of that's fairly alpha-able, I think. Like,
but what if you just took Croak, 6 Salamanders, and deep struck it all and win?
I think I definitely think there's a Draco's Tail list. But like if you're playing towards the top end, you lose the roll off, maybe you lose. Like, and that's a bit too. That's like okay, I don't get the roll off for the first turn, I lose the game. It's pretty strong for a competitive like stance.
Okay.
Like I don't know. Like I think.
I mean, they're still at the top though, right? So.
They are at the top, and you are correct. They are at the top. So, yeah, like, me and Adam obviously do coverage of events all around the world, including AOS Worlds and other stuff.
Just a few now, isn't it?
Just a few, yeah. And we play, like, Adam plays more than me, but when we play pretty well. So, one of the things that we do, though, is we see these armies play all the time on the tabletop, and I was going to do a tier list on what is the most fun to stream. Yeah, like, and why, right?
Okay.
Because it's kind of like a look behind the window, and also at the same time, like
the honest wargamer behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes. But at the same time, also, I think there's some kind of indication about like the power level for the armies, like because I think like that's pretty interesting, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a tier show on that. Like the power rating for these armies, I honestly think you could probably 5-0 with. Do it with Stormcast, Blades of Khorne. I doubt
you could.
But you could.
I think you could now.
Okay, there you go.
Changed the blood type.
Okay, so see, Adam thinks. Cities of Sigmar?
Yeah.
Okay. Slaves of Darkness? Yes.
Yep.
Beast of Chaos? Yes.
Yep.
You did that. Skaven?
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for reminding me.
Skaven, I actually think not as much.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, but I don't think so.
Just build it into the actual good lists and stop being mixed.
Fair.
Yeah.
It's one of the most disappointing battle tomes.
You know
when you look at Uruk... No, I just mean this. If you look at Uruk Warclans,
and
it's like 3 different books.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, wow. And it's got like... It's probably got as many units when you combine them as a Skaven book. And a Skaven book's like, nah, we've just got like some guys.
See, I don't agree with that.
Okay.
Because, like, I really liked the last Skaven book. And the fact they didn't change it too much, I was quite happy with. They just updated it. Like, I really like you can just take 9 Storm Fiends and have a lovely time.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Ziggy in the chat says, our stats master, says 15 different factions went 5-0 in July. That's out of 22 factions.
That's really
right?
good.
So that's a really good kind of state of the game statement, basically.
I bet Cruel Boys didn't.
I bet Cruel Boys didn't either. Iron Jaws, yes. Daughters of Cain, yes. Sinesh,
No. Oh, they did, didn't they?
They did. That was Anthony Trentinelli. Like, I think yes.
But that was in America.
They had like, I don't know though. Like, one of the major problems with dealing with Nighthorn is you need a lot of dice, and like if you get the right matchups for those, like if you take in 50 Bliss Barbs, that's 100 shots with an Incarnate. That's not a bad list. Like,
It's
and
not.
it's still not all of the points that they're spending. So, LRL, yes. Disciples Inch, absolutely. KO,
yeah.
Sylvaneth, yes.
Yes.
Nurgle, yes. Sons of Behemoth, absolutely. I absolutely think you can 5-0
I think
with
you
them.
4-1 with them.
Okay, fair enough.
I think you just get that fifth, because there's too much damage in the game now. You'll get that one matchup where someone can just take you off.
Yes, okay, fair. Nighthorn, absolutely. Seraphon, absolutely. Bone Splitters, absolutely. So, like, that kind of gives you a good indication of, like how much we think the game is open right now, which is super fun.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a real long conversation about, like, what the best army in the game is and other stuff. And I'm going to do some more shows like that over the next couple of weeks. But right now, me and Adam are going to talk about the best armies to stream and why. Chat, it's your opportunity to pick an army out.
So buckle up.
Buckle up. That was good. That was like, you've done that professionally.
I have. It's just my life. Like, every time I walk into school in the morning and I get, like, my kids sit in front of me and I'm like, buckle up!
Yeah, buckle up, baby!
Today's going to be maths!
I'll say it again. KO. All right, we'll start with KO from
Feels
Owen.
really awkward. I really enjoy watching KO.
Okay, all right, let's start with Carriage and Overlords.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to start there, right? We'll just put them there just so we can put them there. So Carriage and Overlords.
Okay.
So a traditional list with Carriage and Overlords will almost always consist of an Ironclad.
Yep.
Okay, fine. Then you've normally got minimum battle line.
Yep.
So you never have a big blob on the board. And then you've got some characters who are in the boat, so you never fucking see the characters anyway.
Load of Thunderers.
Some Thunderers, and then either a frigate or something else.
Oh, and a Purple Sun.
And a Purple Sun. And the current version is obviously an Incarnate and a Purple Sun.
In a bowl.
In a bowl, yeah,
That
of
gets
course.
thrown at you.
Thanks, Glader, for resubscribing. So I'll start with this, because I hate streaming KO.
I'm with you. Here we go.
Okay, so the reason I personally hate streaming KO is because they're, like, you never they're doing shooting.
Okay.
So you never really get to, like, they're like, oh, that unit got removed. And you're like, oh, whatever. Like, the table boss has to give you loads of info. They're like, by the way, Rob, main guns on that unit. Like, and that becomes, like, really...
Especially when they start splitting shots.
Oh,
like, this gun's going there, that gun's going there. And have you ever tried to build a KO list?
Yeah, yes.
It's literally the most painful thing in the world.
It's very
because
frustrating.
It's like 1 out of 3 can have this weapon, 1 in 7 can have this one, 1 in 29 can have this weapon, and if you don't quite meet this thing, you can't have this gun.
But also, I think that it's one of those really weird armies that if you were to do, like, let's say you were to do like a very traditional battle report, you know, like the Zoomy Cam, you roll the dice. I think it's probably quite an exciting army to view from that way. But from streaming, like, the other thing that, so like, you never really know what's shooting at what or what's targeting what, so that's number one. Secondly, they're never going to be where they are. You're basically like, does the enemy have fly? Yes or no?
Yep.
In which case, the board state doesn't matter because the KO are going to be somewhere else in the next turn. Like, so you can't really like talk about like they've zoned out here, they've done that, they've done this. Like, I don't
also, they just rely so much on a double turn, don't they?
Loads. That's true. Yeah. Like, then they don't trade well.
Really badly. And you sit there and you go, like, turn 1. Every time I've watched KO, I'm like, cool. They're 1 drop. They're going to give the turn away.
Yeah.
And then try and roll a 6.
Yeah.
And if they get it, we can just call the stream there. If they don't, we go, oh, they've lost, and we can call the stream there.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they're currently very competitive. Yeah, so I think we're going to see more and more KO builds on stream. Carl from Season of War, the other day, C's Up, B's Down, obviously played when I was over at Summer Slaughter.
Okay.
And he was playing against a Magmadroth, well, some Magmadroth, sorry, belonging to Bill Sousa. And I was just kind of like, he did the first turn, he shot everything, he stood there. I think you just felt like he was just waiting to see if his opponent could kill him.
Yeah,
That's all you were waiting.
So I've been playing loads of KO on TTS.
Yeah.
And I can definitely, like, I understand the mechanics more now because I've used them. But when I've been watching them, like, doing the stream with it, I'm just like, it is dull. Like, it's just boring to talk about as well. Like, you just sit there and you're like, all right, this gun shoots there, right?
Yeah.
And then you see you don't because you don't see the models that are shooting. It's just like you have an ironclad in the middle and suddenly the opponent's army's dead.
Yeah, do you know what's interesting is like also I feel that because I sometimes do streaming for 40k, right? In 40k, when there's like a captain for Space Marines,
yeah,
that guy will fucking stab stuff.
Okay,
like, he'll wreck shit. Yeah, but in Age of Sigmar, you've got like a Dracoth War Queen, and you're like, and she's like,
oh baby,
please don't hit me. Like absolutely no damage. Yeah. Like a Chaos Lord. You're like, a Chaos Lord? What? Chosen from the very ranks of the Chaos Warriors himself? How good is he in a fight? Terrible. And you're like,
at least with Age of Sigmar, we don't set up a table and then there's one piece of terrain and we put our entire army behind it like this. And if we don't fit, we lose.
That's also true.
So,
that's also
you know,
true. Yeah.
The amount of pictures that I've seen that just has like one piece of terrain and then there's like a 40k army like weaving behind it.
What's weird about KO as well is they've got a super great aesthetic. I just want to see some sort of infantry block. Like,
see, Greg was talking earlier about what's it called, the Skywarden build.
Yeah.
So you just take like 1 million Skywardens,
okay,
and you just jump around the board, shooting and going into combat. That looks really exciting to play. I think it's just the traditional KO build.
Yeah.
That's just dull.
Yeah, and yeah. It's got no board presence. It doesn't really like
it can be wherever it wants.
Yeah.
Like, there's no sort of going, oh, I wonder if he'll be able to move over here. No, he just...
He's definitely going to do that, like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you want to give it out of, like, S to Gargants? D is correct. It's one of the worst. I agree with you. 100%.
You'll never guess what Gargants is for.
What? It could be... I didn't even write this. This could be anyone.
What? Where did this come from?
Right, what's the next one, chat? What do you want to do? That doesn't mean that they're not competitive. Also doesn't mean they're not a cool army. But from a streamer's perspective, they're really problematic to make entertaining. Like,
don't
there's no... Like, is the Ironclad going to die or not going to die? Find out
died,
in 3 hours. Yeah, woo.
Oh, they didn't get the turn. Oh, well, GG.
FEC, Flesh Eater Courts. Okay, where's Flesh Eater Courts on my little list? Oh, great shout, Adam. Okay, Flesh Eater Courts. You got any thoughts?
3 dragons, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think
they've got like engaging mechanics because you've got the summoning. Well, yeah, because initially you've got the summoning, right?
Okay.
Which I think is so things that I enjoy talking about when I talk about the stream is resource management.
Yep.
You're like because when someone's got like some Canary in the pocket, some Tree Revenants in the pocket, some Summoning in the pocket,
yep,
that already gives them some interesting options. Even if when the thing gets there, it's terrible. You're like, he's got 3 flayers. You're like, well, can't wait for them to die later on in the game, but
I can't wait for them to scream
and then die.
And then die.
Right? But I like the resource management that they've got with the teleporting, not teleporting, the summoning.
Yeah.
So I think that's good.
I think I mean, watching 3 dragons just fly across the board is quite fun.
Yeah.
It's like, are they gonna get in?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. And then like one gets in, you're like, oh shit!
Yeah, because then you do have the exciting thing, because they are one of the spikiest units in the game.
Yeah.
Because they can just be like, oh, I just rolled 3 sixes.
It's a bit like watching Kragnos play, and every time he rolls it into a charge, you're like, let's go!
Like there's a pivotal moment. Again, a nice comparison between them and KO. KO doesn't have other than when they drop the purple sun in that build, they don't have anything that spikes.
Literally nothing.
They're like, oh, I've got all these guns. I've got this other gun, and now this other gun. You're like, okay, right, just like again, this is just from this is our kind of perspective from like building stories and narratives.
Exciting, right?
Yeah.
Like, feck, you charge him in, you go, how many 6s can I roll to get like 18 mortal wounds? And then also, anytime, most people that play feck
have got chicken fillet brains. Like one of us had to say it. Like they're just
to be fair, I was just going to go. I was just going to go that most people that play feck are just speckles. And anytime I watch that man play, I'm like, fuck.
By the way, happy birthday, Speckles.
It's his birthday.
It's his birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. But all you do is this. Fuck, they're dead.
Well, let's see, because it's interesting. Like about 3 years ago, and this is current Flesh Eater Courts book, but Age of Sigmar 2, and this is when they were at like nearly 70% win rate. I was in America, and I was playing Team America, Sean Clark, Nuke Doctor, really great player on the tabletop.
Okay.
And we had a really interesting game because he didn't just yeet everything in, which is also sensible because I had 85 glaives. Which would have
he didn't do what?
Yeah, because I would have killed them. Like, so it was a good decision on his part, right?
Yep.
But like it was kind of interesting, like because they're very different to a Maw Crusher, and they're very different to, I'm trying to think, like not the Smash King, but like Enlightened or Skyfire is kind of a good example, because they don't have infinite board threat.
Yep.
They have very good board threat, of course, but they've got the spell, they've got to run, like they've got to like get there. That's pretty huge. Like they're super resource light, so that CP is pretty important, especially for Fight on Death. Fight on Death's also fun. Like I don't think it's fun to play against ever, but it's fun from a stream perspective. Like the thing goes in, kills it.
It depends. Okay. What like Archeon Fight on Death against another Archeon? Hilarious.
Hilarious. Yes, correct.
Because when they both go in the sword.
Spider-Man meme.
Like that's hilarious.
Yeah. That is funny.
But like a flesh-eater corpse lad dying and then fighting, you're a bit like, all right.
I don't know. I think it's kind of funny.
I just find it funny when like they die against something that's massive and then they kill the other massive thing.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. So I think that they're fairly entertaining. Like
they are basically the Iron Jaws of Death.
They are the Iron Jaws of Death. That's correct. Yeah, they are. They also have like there's a lot of board motion with them as well. Like you get to talk about the terrain piece, which I think is pretty interesting.
I still don't know what it does.
Their lore is really good. It just lets them do something for free. Yeah, whatever. Like I
just assume they do that. I always forget that's like
you just assume they do it.
Yeah.
It actually costs them a command point, but the Channel Throne.
Sorry, what?
Like
what?
What?
When did this happen?
So I personally think it's actually pretty entertaining, so I'm going to put it up as A. The lore's also fun, and also all the players are also hilarious, because like if they ever learned to read, they'd be terrifying.
Giga chats.
Yeah, right. All right, what's the next? Are you happy with A?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a B.5, so like, you know.
Okay, fine. What's the next army chat? Like, okay, so reasons, because this is important. Resource management, I personally think is quite fun.
Yeah.
They got big spike damage, which is really fun and interesting.
Fast.
They don't have. I definitely will do this thing damage. Like it's like they don't guarantee move and charge and kill something.
Do you know what I've just realised?
What?
I feel like the armies that I enjoy watching played are the ones that don't last the whole time.
You're dead soon.
So I can finish.
Like turn 2.
It's like, right, end stream.
Okay. Hello to Big Tom, by the way. Sons of Behemoth.
Do you want a spoiler?
Okay. It's just okay.
Right. Read the screen.
It's right. Okay. Let's put that.
There you go.
Yeah. Like. All right. So what is it you don't? Other than the fact that we had to stream 850 games between Age of Sigmar 3.0 and 3.2.
I don't need to relive that piece. I've just gotten over it. I've been like seeing someone.
Do you remember Blood Tithe?
I don't want to talk about Blood Tithe.
Every team had a Gargant player.
Team.
So then it was either Gargants versus Gargants, which is genuinely the worst thing you can possibly.
But also,
no, is Gargants and Gargants versus worse than Nurgles? Remember when we just didn't do flies versus flies? Like we were at Worlds, there was just like 8 like Pusco Blight Lords versus Pusco, and we were just like, we're not coming to this table. We refuse. I think it's not as bad as that.
No, like Sons of I used to hate it. Like, used to hate it with a passion. Like, I wouldn't even... If you told me, we're streaming a Gargants game, I'd genuinely tell Rob to fuck off. Right?
He does. It's true.
Because, honestly, it was just all they did. And every time they set up, I knew they'd put 3 in a triangle, 1 on the other side, and the movement they would do was this.
Yeah.
And then, when they got there, they stayed there.
Forever.
And the whole game was just, can your opponent take them off? And the only way to make that interesting is to make a story about the other army, which is surprisingly hard to do.
Well, it's just 3 giant dickheads stood somewhere.
Just stood there, and there's no actual interaction. It's like you get the stories of Johnny Goes Pants.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So like Johnny Goes Pants, for people who don't know, is one. What was he? He was Iron Drake,
but he was the cannon on it.
Yeah, he was the Iron Drake with the torpedo, and he eventually killed 3 Gargants in like a. But like we have to craft that story.
Like, that's what I mean. It's painful. It's really hard to do. Because in other games, like, the stories just naturally happen.
Yeah.
Whereas in that game, it was like, right, how do we make this relatively interesting that's not Gargant move, Gargant charge?
Also, there's 2 other bits that we don't need to talk about. One, listening to a Gargant player tell me how their Gargant list is different to another Gargant list.
Six Nations.
It's triggering.
Six Nations when they all had Gargant players, and it was who was
It's
it?
actually really different.
Who had the 3 Kraken Eaters? It was like, yeah, I can kick all of the objectives, and you're like, all right, literally, but let's be honest, all you're gonna do is move.
I can do this, but I'm just gonna move.
Like,
wait, hold on, and then like imagine what I had to do, and then also there's that. So there's that, and then also all of them being like, I really played well with that army.
yeah, I played so well. Like
at that point, they had 10% meta representation and a 70% win rate. Like that meant everyone was playing them, and anyone could do well with them.
Fabian trying to convince the world that he's good. Just running around with Gargants.
You got it, Fabs. You got it. I believe in you. Okay, so but that said, they gave us the Johnny Ghost Panda
It doesn't
story.
matter.
I don't know. That was a great story.
Yeah, but that's because we made that story.
Yeah,
that's nothing
true.
to do with Gargants.
I don't know.
It just
though,
means
like,
how good we are.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we were hilarious.
But also, like, to be fair, in this edition, they're a little bit more exciting. Because things can kill them now, and I just like watching them get lifted off the fucking table.
That's true, yeah, me too. I enjoy that. Because it would be funny if we then didn't put Gargants into the Gargants tier. Like, and put Legion on the first print in there. Like, that's not to say that you shouldn't play them, by the way. None of this is like...
Please stop playing Gargants.
Like, but from a game... like, and there is a good conversation about resource management with them as well.
What conversation?
Oh.
How do I manage how many Gargants per objective?
Yeah, all right,
do I put 2 or 3 on this one?
Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, I mean...
Oh, I've got no CP. I guess I won't auto-run.
Maybe that's just me being like, I must make everything a story. We can find a way to make it engaging. I don't know. All right, fine. Okay, they can stay there for now.
They are fucking staying there.
All right, what's the next army, chat? What is the next army to put out here? I think it's because, like, the Nurgle. Okay,
I just leave for this one.
I don't know. Like, hold on, because like we should talk about what the traditional lists are.
I think so. Nurgle would have been interesting to me until we went to Worlds.
Right. Okay.
So, like, I think,
so explain that to people.
I kind of enjoyed Nurgle because they've got some cool like summoning mechanics. I quite like the wheel mechanic.
Yep.
But the wheel mechanic's really hard to talk about on stream.
So this is their allegiance ability.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So like that's because it starts on one point and you have to know exactly where.
But that's on me, right? Like I could create a wheel graphic. We could pop it up when Nurgle's on the screen.
It's still going to be hard.
Yeah, but I can make it much easier.
Okay,
I could give us a visual representation, and
we're
then
already doing 1,000 things at once.
Yeah, no. I agree.
Like, yeah, but other allegiances are easier to talk about. So all I'm saying is like obviously it's a harder allegiance to talk about.
It
right?
is. Yeah, yeah.
But then the fact that like they can have some mixed builds. Like they can be interesting because at the end of the game they can summon a lot. They can do some cool like I quite like the disease mechanic. That's quite fun to talk about. But then we went to Worlds. And how many teams? Like 26 teams or something? Yeah. And any time Nurgle came up,
it was like 8 flies.
It was just flies.
10 flies, 12 flies. Yeah.
Flies.
Yeah.
And all flies do is basically what Gargants do. Of pre-game move forward, charge.
Yes,
and
that build.
But that's what I mean. But that build has ruined Nurgle for me.
Okay, so that's fair. That's fair. And to Adam's credit, that was literally every list that we saw. But there were other people pushing around other Nurgle lists, and I think there were because there's Beast of Nurgle list, not a Worlds, but there were, and they're also doing quite well. Not necessarily because we didn't cover them.
I don't really enjoy the Beast of Nurgle list either.
I think that's got some really interesting like application because like there's some real good. I think one of the key bits about what makes a game interesting is when there's real good decision points.
Yep.
And I think watching like someone with 3 Beasts of Nurgle who have charged in and if you at home, they've got retreat and charge. So when they're in their turn and then they've got like actually they can get to that character back there.
Yep.
Actually they've got that. Will they get like and they're narratively a really fun unit to visualize doing those things as well, I think.
If there's a sloppy bar piper, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean obviously slippity blip blop.
Like
yeah, what's that? One slippity blip blop.
Because trying to say that on stream
is
a slippity
dip dop.
That lad there.
Yeah.
Right, he's gonna like
yeah. Like, but the fly build is dull.
The fly build brings the whole book down for me, like streaming wise. But I think the other builds make it a little bit more interesting.
Have you seen the Rock Coven Sorcerer list yet?
No.
Rock Coven. Okay, so it's gone like 503 times, or like it's gone
Where?
5-0 twice and like 4-1 twice. No, but seriously.
Yeah.
So it's 3 Rotbringer sorcerers. Yeah.
And what, the fat lad, like the massive dudes?
No, the new wizard.
All right.
You know how you can take them into a filth coven?
Not?
Yeah. So basically, you can so you take 3 of them. It's a bit like a shark quiver.
Yeah.
Right. So you take 3 of them, the new models. Lol. And then you basically, if they're all next to each other, you get +3 to cast. But on their war scroll, and only on their war scroll, yeah, and not if you're in this sub faction, but you take 3 for it. Basically, any damage done by an endless spell,
Okay.
yeah, causes the disease mechanic to start activating. So you basically take them, you dash more endless spells at people, yeah, and then they all start taking endless disease points really quick, which is really quick. Oh no, actually, not even do damage with them. They just have to be in range of the spell.
What?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. The stinky spell list. Yeah, it's super interesting.
Put a Grave Tide and a Palisade.
Yeah, but with +3 to cast Master of Magic, Arcane Tome on that same wizard. It's super interesting.
Throw a portal out.
Yeah, right? So I really like it, and it's done super well already. Jeremy Vissier from Team USA went 5-0.
That's
but
really cool.
But that was West Coast, so whatever. But Jeremy's great. So, I think that the fly build is boring, but there are loads of interesting builds in the Nurgle book, and I think, the Beast build, that build, I don't know. I'm not saying B, I'm saying C, but it's not KO, right?
Yeah, I'd say C.
Okay.
Yeah, go C.
All right. Yeah. Because it's also interesting, when someone uses. So for you people at home, there's also a Lord of Afflictions, which is normally in the lists, which shuts down the enemy ability to issue command abilities, but also receive command abilities.
Yep.
And that's super good because actually what that does is where that positioned on the board, that gives you some because you can fuck that up.
I've just realised.
What?
Anyone that joins the chat now,
Yeah.
they're going to see this, see Flesh Eater Quartz at A tier. I'm like, the fuck?
Hold on, Adam.
What?
Hold on, Adam. Are you going to tell me I'm going to do a completely weird-looking tier list, post it, yeah, and somehow that might get me loads of angry...
With no context?
With no context, and people will just be furious. Seems like I've done this before. Okay, next.
Are we here for the views? for the clicks?
If we don't get views and make money, how do we make the content?
The clicks?
What does it do? Right, what's the next faction, chat? What's the next faction?
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm excited for the next
It's also
faction.
a nice way, hopefully, for people to know kind of what's
what
in
armies they should bring if they're going on stream.
Yeah, no, but also what the armies generally tend to do, like cookie cutter builds. Yeah, so flies, Lord of Afflictions. Stormcaster to OBR was first. Uber.
You're not very good at finding them.
No, not at all.
No. I enjoy watching OBR.
Me too. Well, why do you like it?
I like watching Mortek Guard walk up the board and sort of just...
It's completely opposite of what we just said. Yeah, okay.
So I really enjoy Mortek, OBR just feel like an Age of Sigmar army. They feel very fantasy.
And Lumineth.
Yeah. But OBR,
it's an infantry block, right?
Yeah. So you get the Mortek, they go forward. You've got Arcan or something, throwing spells, zipping around, doing.
There's a crawler doing some shooting.
Yeah. Loved the crawler builds.
Yeah.
Loved watching the crawler builds.
There's one character, and he's actually pretty good in a fight.
Yeah.
The Liege Cavalos.
Yep.
He's actually a dude.
I love watching the Death Riders smash forward, maybe do a cheeky flank or something. I enjoy the discipline mechanic.
Okay.
Instead of command points.
Because again, it's a resource thing, which means it's a decision point that we can be interested in.
Yeah. And you can be they've only got four relentless discipline points. How are they going to manage that resource? Maybe their opponent is going to aim to kill a character because that will stop more discipline points. I think it's I really enjoy watching OBR.
I think your notion of the aesthetic of the kind of more traditional fantasy army that we have in our heads rings true to me as well, because it does almost traditionally always look like an army.
Yeah.
Even if it's just 3 tens of Mortek Guard.
Yeah. There is a caveat.
Oh yeah.
That I hate the Nagash build.
You mean Owen? Okay, Owen. Is that what you're saying? I love you, Owen.
I want to say no. But watching Hand of Dust go off, and you're like,
And shut up! Okay, Hand of Dust immediately bumps it up a level because, like, Sean and
alright,
Gash can
yeah,
go, like,
I disagree. Okay, I've disagreed
you
myself.
don't like,
Alright,
yeah, because they get, like, that's
Hand of Dust
amazing.
is fucking fantastic.
It is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's
Alright.
absolutely, because you get to
S tier.
build up so much excitement with Hand of Dust. You get to be like, what? What?
I think the issue I've got with it is when you miss it.
Yeah.
You're like, no! God damn it!
But then you need the high and the low, right, for the ride. Because you got to remember, me and Adam have done, like, hours, hundreds of hours now.
Alright, sorry, yeah. Blood Tithe. Owen with his OBR. Like, he had just a gash left against, like, a whole Beast Claw army and killed every single one. And it was just like, what just happened?
Oh, he's
that was the best game
Okay.
I've watched it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Like, I think Hand of Dust, like, is one of those, like, I would like to see Spell Portal not be usable for it, but that's a side
Yeah,
note.
what?
Yeah, what? What?
Why?
Just dumb, man.
And you don't think that Archon should extend the range as well?
Oh my god.
What?
Oh my god.
Your character at the back, he can be fingered.
I like it. Everyone is like complaining about Purple Sun, or not everyone, only the worst people. And then all the Gash players at the side are like, actually 50-50 on Hand of Dust, but let's not talk about it. just don't look at us. Yeah, just like lifting their newspaper up, being like, don't look.
How many times did you cast Purple Sun on me last week? How many times did it go off?
0 times.
0 times.
That was the worst. So I don't know. What do you think? S.
Just
no.
the Hand of Dust.
Hand of Dust
into
is
it.
good. Let's leave it there for a minute. We can come
Alright.
back to it because we don't know what our S is, right? What's
I
the
know
next
exactly
army
what
chat?
my S is.
Huh?
I know exactly what my S
Do
is.
you?
Yeah.
I actually don't know what my S is, so
Find out more.
find out more. You must watch the rest of the video.
If it comes up, I'll say not yet.
Yeah. Okay. What's the what is the next Stormcast Eternals? Okay, Stormcast Eternals. All right. Okay. Stormcast Eternals.
Buckle up.
So there isn't a current build. There isn't.
No.
Even though they're 10% of the meta, yeah, 9.5%
I
of
mean,
the
it's
meta.
just all starter armies at the moment, isn't it?
It is.
Like, it's all people with their like start sets going, I've got Vindictors. Don't hurt me.
True. Like, I don't think there's a current like.
I bought a long strike. I hope it does something.
The man at the shop told me my castigators were brilliant. I'm like, oh no.
These vanquishers.
Yeah. Blood Clot Pots. I hate seeing. I hate seeing either of the two large dragons on the board because it's just a 600 point waste of time.
Was it the UK Masters or the Worlds? What I did with you? I did Worlds, didn't I?
Yeah.
And was it Mike that had the crons?
No, that was it. Oh yeah. Mike,
And
he had it at Worlds.
And he had what's it called? The big dragon.
Yeah.
And every time we cut to the stream, it was like, it's dead. It would be like turn 2, like.
Because you can't talk about something you've got 0 faith in. Like,
It's just like, it's got this really cool ability where it does 3 hours dead.
Yeah.
Shit.
Guess what? It gets +3 to its cast.
And it's dead.
6? So does everything else for 6. Like just Master of Magic. Just do that instead.
That's funny.
But
It's dead.
it's always dead. But okay, right. So the older list, the Annihilator build list, I thought was really interesting and fun.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't see it very much. The Imperator Annihilator list. I think
Drop it down 7-inch charges.
loads
Smash.
of smash. I think that's quite interesting. I think I really enjoyed Dennis's list, but you can't do it anymore. But that was hilarious with all the bows.
Yeah.
That was funny.
The double tap
Yeah.
bows. I love watching dragons.
Because we're talking about, by the way, 3.3 version.
Yeah.
Right, and sure, when it was 6 long strikes, yeah, and a bunch of dragons, it was a bit like meh.
See, I loved those games.
Okay, tell me why.
So like, dragons to me are really exciting because there's the spike potential on a dragon.
Huge.
Is nuts.
Yeah.
So like, they'd move forward with their 12-inch hero move, which they don't get anymore, which does actually, I think, make them more exciting. Right? Then they'd move again, and they'd be 3 inches away from the enemy, right? And you were like, oh baby, how much are they going to do? Because if they failed, they just die.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Yeah. They're like, because the Stormcast player is really relying on you. They're like, I really want to kill that character, and they don't have any other choices. Yeah.
And the fact that like, this was like, obviously they used to give away monster points.
Yeah.
So like, even though their opponent's army was dead, they were always in the game because they kept giving away monster points. Then they made them that
bounty hunters.
It was hunters, but it wasn't bounty hunters.
What was it? Prime Hunters.
Prime Hunters. Then they made them that, and they gave even more points away. And every time I watched them, I was like, oh my god, your list bleeds so many points, but can you take them off before they kill you?
I suppose that version was kind of
And then,
like when they added the priority.
Yeah,
points.
and then they added like the mortal wound mechanic is brilliant. Like, because on a 1 they do nothing.
Yeah.
But on a 6, oh, you're fucked.
That's true. That's true. Because you got to remember, we're not playing the games.
Yeah.
So like when me and Adam watch someone roll like 12 mortal wounds and something, it's huge because like the chat are having fun, we're having fun.
Yeah.
Like it's big. Like the health of the game completely goes out the window when we're discussing like how fun it is to engage with. Like, and 6 long strikes can just it's just like brilliant because they're just like, I mean, you can't do that anymore. So yeah, like I guess
it was always fun watching Owen put in a gash down, and then his opponent put 6 long strikes down.
Opposite.
Like, and you're just like, and goodbye.
That's dead. Yeah, that's dead. yeah. Okay. So, but current build, because you can't do that with long strikes anymore.
It's just I can't give a good enough opinion on them because I haven't seen any good players with Stormcast at the moment.
So one of the interesting bits is they don't really have any because one of the ones that I'm going to rate really highly at the minute is going to be Sylvaneth, right? Like,
Yes.
yeah. But like, it's because but they've got a load of overlapping abilities that interact with each other, yeah. But like, and OCRs do to a bit of a degree, yeah. Like I remember years ago when the Pope.
Yes.
The Pope.
JP. Let's go.
JP, let's go. When the Pope was like playing, this was years and years ago at Summer Slaughter, and he was screening with his Mortek Guard, and like just his board control, yeah, and also like his situational awareness on where he was screening was fantastic. Yeah, so like that's really good. Stormcast though don't really have anything they don't have any synergy. Nothing really connects.
They do if you build into it. The issue with Stormcast is you get so many. It sounds horrible, but new players playing it that don't know the game well enough to like actually make them synergize. But as soon as you give Stormcast actually good players, I find them quite interesting. It's like what are they keeping in the sky? When are they going to drop it? How are they going to use the teleport? Like I watching it wasn't on stream, but watching Matt Goldsborough play with. I think he had like fulminators and all the different like the Dracothian stuff with some long strikes was actually quite interesting to play.
Okay.
Like watch him play it.
Okay.
But I think Stormcast they get a bit of a bad rep because the people that are playing them don't really know the game well enough yet.
So you think when I see them on stream, or when we see them on stream, I just don't know if there's any real emotional hooks in like a Stormcast army. Like, what's like now 6 long strikes are gone. Yeah, now double move dragons are gone. Like, where am I like getting like invested? Like, what's the centerpiece or the thing that's happening? Like, I don't know. Like, even the characters. Like, do you know what? I do like the Gardas build at the minute because at least like Gardas does something. Gardas is like he's here, giving a 5-up ward.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, and I like Bastion because Bastion's like actually great in a fight. Yeah, like Bastion's actually great in a fight. So you're like, that's actually something I can talk about. Whereas like he's got a lord, whatever, and you're like, that's rubbish, and I don't want to talk about it. Yeah. Okay, so where do you want to put them?
I'd actually put them at B.
B seems good. I like the chariot list. I think that's interesting.
Like the thing with Stormcast, like it's such a big book. They have got some lists that I put in Gargant tier, but they've also got lists that I'd put in A tier.
That's true. Yeah, and as Owen is saying, they do have the Prime, which is perfect for Prime time.
Prime time. Prime time, baby.
But he's always in the Seraphon army. He's never in this army.
Or in any other army.
He's literally never in
he's
this
never
army.
actually there.
So it doesn't count. What's the next army, please, chat? This is interesting.
What's the next army?
What's the next army? Let's
This
go.
is so
Skaven. Oh my god.
S. Like, I'm sorry, but like.
All right. Well, you tell me. Tell me what you like about it.
Like, so we were discussing earlier about like the fact that randomness on stream is the best thing in the world.
That's true.
And watching a Rattling gun pop up, nuke a unit of 20 Mortek Guard, and then die is hilarious.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I agree. Like, I think my issue at the moment is I haven't necessarily seen like great Skaven play.
Yeah.
You know,
but I think you can look at Skaven as though you're looking at the old book. They essentially play the same. So like.
What? Oh no. Wait, is that wrong? No, that's correct. It's the same book.
It's
Wait, there's a new
book?
command trait. Who cares?
Oh, is there?
Yeah, who cares?
What?
Who cares?
But like, there's going to be some really fun builds. Like, there's I really enjoy watching the. I'm going to enjoy watching the Storm Fiend build.
Yeah.
And just watching like 4 die, and then them rally them back.
That is fun. That is fun. I agree with you. Like Doom Wheels, like they're probably they might even be an S, right? Because they've got
That's
like.
what I'm saying. Like,
and also invariably they lose.
but you could also be like, you get so invested, they do all this damage, and like you said, all of a sudden they all just die. You're like, what the fuck?
Also, there's such one of those armies that you really big up. You're like, this Doom Wheel when it or this Rattling Gun when it kicks off is gonna
do a million more wounds.
Yeah, and then you're like, by the way, it just died to Comet's Call.
So basically, what happened was it rolled a double 1 when it shot, and it just died.
And it died. And it died. I like.
But
can
like,
I say
the
at the
stories
moment,
you can make with Skaven
I
as
like
well.
the Thankwall boat build. Because
I cannot wait to watch that on stream.
Because it's the biggest cope I've ever seen. Like, people are like, guess what? I'm like, what? They're like, I can get like +4 to cast on my Thankwall. I'm like, okay, what you can do then? They're like, I'm going to put him in a boat. I'm going to move him at the enemy. I'm like, what then? He's like, he's going to charge the enemy. I'm like, what then? He's like, oh, that's a great question.
I think that
I haven't thought that far. I've just got to the bit where I'm there. Yeah, and I'm like, what's he doing? He's there. He's like, he's really going to fight something. I'm like, oh boy.
Have you ever watched Thankwall in a
What
fight?
happens in their turn?
Well, he would have killed something. Although, like, the reason I'm excited for Thankwall is for any time there's a Nighthorn player.
Oh yeah,
and they're just there in the hall. They're like, shit, don't make me play against him. Okay, fuck. Like they're all just like dodging like this Thankwall guy, and this Thankwall player's just eyeing him up like, I'm gonna fucking more wound your ghost off the board.
And Nighthorn is 7.5% of the meta at the minute, right? The second most popular army. So like, it absolutely like makes sense to spec into
watching them. Thankwall uses those warp fire blasters on a unit of 30 blade guys.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's true. Also, Skittle Leaper's exciting. Whether or not you do it well or don't do it well.
Have you seen the new Eshin build?
Yes.
Like the Eshin build where it's all off the table and then all of a sudden it's all over the board.
Yeah.
That is going to be amazing.
But I did say, shout out to Jacob, and nothing meant here. I watched you play at Summer Slaughter, and like he just popped up, charged the screen, and then died, and I was like, what is like? I hate this. Like I hate.
But also,
yeah.
Where you're like, oh baby.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the first I was like, yes, and then he was like, charged the screen, I was like, oh, what?
But the whole time you're there like, so what it can do is it does 6 mortal wounds. When it shoots, it's going to do this. It's going to charge. It's going to block the enemy, and then the next thing you're like, oh, it's dead.
It is an exciting book.
Like the whole thing of like Skaven, it gets me like to here, and I'm like, oh shit, oh baby, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, was that everything?
I think
was that all?
I mean, and also if they ever summon a Vermin Lord, like,
do you remember that one?
Amazing.
James summoned 2?
Yeah, just James summoned 2.
But he didn't actually have another one, so he went, it's alright, mate. I won't put another one down.
I'm gonna say S.
S, 100%.
100%. Okay, and so all right, let's identify some of the things. They've also got resource mechanics to deal with.
Yeah,
they've got warp zone tokens. They've got very fragile units, but very spiky units.
Yep.
They've got, it kind of looks like a traditional army in a lot of ways. Like you've got the clan rats and other stuff.
Warp lightning cannons.
Warp lightning cannon. Like they've got the Gnaw holes, which does create some like more like they could do this, they could do that. So it gives them more decision points. So I think
their magic is hilarious.
Their magic
because that is like, I'm gonna nuke you or blow myself up.
Yes.
Like
like that's super fun. What else? Like also narratively they're hilarious. Like that has to feature in like the entertainment value, I think. Vortex is still bananas. I guess Vortex is still like, I mean, it's not 20. Remember when it was 26?
Oh, fuck.
Like,
and then they toned it down. You're like, it's still broken.
So the battle report I'm editing, Ridge, like Ridge takes off like 5 pigs in one shooting phase. Then he just screams down the mic, 80 points! Like, there was a time. Age of Sigmar is in such an incredibly healthy place right now. Like,
I don't think people remember. Like,
you don't understand.
Never forgive.
It was 2 years ago. Like, it was absolutely bananas.
Never forgive, never forget.
Like, never. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Okay. Skaven S. Next army, please. Next army. Skaven, look at this. Dominus in the chat. Thankwall in a boat. 6-inch charge in Vermin Lord. Fucking like
literally rad.
I mean, someone's like this. Someone like before they get to the game, they're like, "It's Vermin Lord within 6 inches in charge." You're like, okay, I've just screened at 6 inches.
Yeah.
They're like, Did not see that coming.
What am I going to do?
Did not see that.
And then do you know what they do?
What?
They do it anyway. And then the next turn, you're like, do you want to take it off now?
Right, let's do Nighthorn.
Fuck.
Okay, all right, Nighthorn. I'm going to jump off with a bit of a Fire Slayer's dig. Not meant meanly, but they kind of look the same.
I literally have no idea what's what.
Also, I know what a Krulgas Cruciator is.
And I
but
know
what's
what a black coach is.
But what's a chain ghast, and what is not a chain ghast but is some other word, but similar and the same? The Guardian of Souls, I kind of know he's there sometimes.
That one's got a lantern.
He's got like a lantern, and then it's like, they're like, actually, no, Rob, I've got Dreadblade.
But don't forget they've got chain gas and chain rasps.
Yeah, I've got Harridans. I'm like, okay. And you're like, I've got the other unit. And you're like, they look the same, man. Like, I can't. So that's my initial thoughts.
So,
however,
okay, go on.
game mechanics, loads of interesting shit is happening on the tabletop.
Disagree.
Why?
One of the most boring factions in the world.
Okay, so a traditional build right now for everyone at home is a Krulgas Cruciator, a bunch of, we didn't do this for Skaven because there is no traditional build because it sucks. I can't wait for the stats to prove me right. As it just slowly, as the meta percentage in the win rate slowly fucking
Skaven had
drops.
like an 80% win rate.
Yeah, that was
and
amazing.
they changed one thing and it went.
Yeah, they changed the 26-inch fucking vortex. They were like, maybe this will help. Oh, and also the play.
But all the Skaven players just went, fuck this.
Yeah. Nighthorn is just a retreat and charge and repeat. Okay. Okay. Tell me about why you don't like the mechanics.
So, Nighthorn, the first one I hate Ethereal.
Hate Ethereal.
I hate Ethereal. Because
to play against, though? Or...
And to watch.
Okay.
Because I was like, oh, this player's done this, they're going to try and like absolutely smash this unit, and then all it is to me is luck.
Right.
Because if the Nighthorn player just goes, lol, 4+,
yeah.
Like, it's just dull.
So,
and then I have to explain on stream that this player essentially just got lucky. There was no skill. They just rolled 4+.
See, what's interesting if you, like, just take a moment, look at the stats and look at Nighthorn, right? Yeah. So Nighthorn are at danger territory, like 54%, and with their meta representation, yeah, that probably means they're even better than that.
Okay.
Yeah. But they normally play in a castle build because they're all around the Cruciator.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that really requires like a higher skill floor because you have to always maintain being inside of that, which I think is like that's really fun to watch someone actually play that well versus play it badly. But someone asked me the other day, like, Rob, why with everything that Nighthorn have, aren't they always 5-0ing, like all the time, like constantly? And the answer is because the story you just told happens the other way, where like 10 skinks go in, and they do 5 no-rend attacks, and then they just fucking fail all. They fail all the 4-ups.
Yep.
Yeah, because it just
this
goes.
This is why I don't play Nighthorn.
Yeah. So because it goes the other way, and then they're like, oh, I guess I lose.
Yep.
Like so.
But then also the amount of times I've seen a Nighthorn army go, right, I'm going to go here, right, because they teleport, or not teleport, they come out from the ground, right? They then move a load of characters up. They charge a 30 block into your army, and then it doesn't die, and the whole game is just in the opponent's territory, and nothing else happens.
They're not fast enough to do that first turn, but like
yeah, they are because they teleport.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Like I the things I've normally seen are more like traditional kind of like castle-y Cruciator builds versus like.
What have you watched? I've watched like 5 Nighthorn games, and literally all they do is go lol.
I've seen them move into the middle. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen the shuffler
and like,
play.
I think when we watched Ronya play against Phil.
Oh yeah, she was very aggressive.
But
like,
that was the most boring game I've watched because actually Phil was playing amazingly, and then Ronya went 5 characters, charge, bingo, killed Archeon.
But but I think also like there was a lot of resource management that maybe we were missing, like very much like with
the
KO.
resource management of like I charge, you get a debuff, I charge again, you get the exact same debuff, and now you're -12 to save.
I mean that does help you a lot. Like, is there not like something exciting in like what the charges are? Like, I think one of the problems is again, this might be on us, is we don't have, like, we keep talking about Nighthorn bingo, but we don't have a button that we can press. It's like, they've rolled another 10! Like, maybe we're not trying.
I think that'll just make me more salty.
Like, fuck. like, because so for you at home, when you charge with Nighthorn units and you roll a certain number, like, you get some sort of debuff applied to the unit. But they stack, which is really problematic.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
They stack, so you can do like many minuses to a save, and in addition, they also have retreat and charge. So like they're never pinned in. But I find that the retreat and charge is interesting because like, only it's one-sided interesting because when you're watching the Nighthorn play, like they could go there, they could go there, they could go there, but then they're not really pinned in.
I think the reason I don't like retreat and charge in general is because actually like part of a skill is tagging a unit and saying I'm going to risk this model to be tagging here to stop my opponent from being able to move that unit.
Yeah.
And then they just go lol, retreat and charge, and it takes an element of skill I like out of the game.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think one of the other problems is maybe like, is again like we said, like even though a 30 Grimghast Reapers is a completely different unit to 30 whatever the ones that do the mortal wounds.
Yeah, the Blade
like,
Guys.
Blade Guys. Even though they're very different units, when I see that army play, like so the 30 Grimghast and then the 30 Blade Guys on another table, I just see the same army because it's just like a blob, right? Whereas, like, if you're seeing like someone did really well at the weekend with 2 blocks of 20 Chaos Warriors, that's very different to if you see someone super weird list but really interesting, and then versus if you saw like a block of 30 Chaos Warriors or Varangard, right? They're very different, right? Like your cavalry build is very different. So I think maybe that there's some sort of like overexposure therapy.
The thing that like bothers me about Nighthorn is they're such a polarizing army.
I don't know, but they don't bother me.
They literally, I hate watching them.
Really?
Like,
why?
It's nearly as bad as when we had the Gargant moment.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, when we were Worlds Finals, right, we had Mike Stewart, who was playing a not traditional Idoneth Deepkin army.
Nope.
Like, it was a pretty weird Idoneth army, right?
Yeah.
And
he had 6 heals in it.
I was excited.
Weird. Yeah.
All right? And then Nighthorn came up, and we literally instantly, before the game, we both said, cool, Mike's lost. Obviously, we didn't say that on camera, but like between both of us, we went, yeah, cool, Mike's lost this game.
Yeah.
And the whole game, it was really hard to talk about it because we were both like, well, maybe if Mike does this, it might happen. And then you go, oh yeah, but they ignore Rend. And then Mike pinned him in, and we were like, oh, maybe Mike's got some play now. And then he went, you're retreating, I charge.
Yeah. Because like he would do the charge. You wouldn't even be pinned in and locked into that combat. You could just retreat and then go somewhere else. Like, this is so. For people who've just joined us, this is a tier list for like what me and Adam enjoy talking about when we stream games. Yeah, which like, and some of it is about playability. Some of it's just about like what. Because what I was hoping by the end of this video.
Is you got a clickbait title?
I mean, there's obviously the clickbait thumbnail, but like, it's also for me is to really identify why I find games interesting to stream and watch. I think Nighthorn, if you can get past what they're able to do while they're doing it, is quite interesting.
I cannot disagree with you more.
Okay,
to me, they're Gargant tier.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like obviously,
because I think
you're
honestly,
allowed your opinion.
Yeah, I know, and that's why we're discussing it, right? I think that there's actually people playing really well with it, like versus like I don't know. I think there's some interesting.
I think to me, it's like watching someone playing Thunder Lizards. Like you're like, are you a good player or is this just Nighthorn?
What? Because staying holy within 12 inches isn't that difficult.
Yeah, like.
Okay. I mean, what else have they got? They don't have
charges.
So they don't have a teleport. They don't have a resource mechanic.
But they do have a teleport.
But it's from the ground.
Deep strike.
Yeah. Oh, they've got the boat guy as well. Okay, boat builds. If they got the boaty guy, he's at least funny.
Even more boring.
Oh my god, I love the boaty guy.
Because now you go, I've got one unit here, then another unit here, my character here.
I like that.
Fuck off.
I really like that. All right, so okay, because you seem very strongly.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put them in Gargants because obviously you wouldn't agree with that.
No.
But you know,
I don't think they're KO because KO fundamentally just don't play the game that we want to watch. I think
maybe KO should be in Gargants.
Like, I think that there's...
Maybe we've given KO too much.
Okay, also, like, the builds that are more competitive, I guess, but, like, there's... So, I really liked Thingy's Black Coach build. Like, the 4 black coaches. That was really funny.
Okay.
And interesting.
Okay.
Like, I really do think that.
Yeah.
Because also you get to say level 5 black coach, which is
hilarious.
Great. Hilarious. I like to like sometimes just really like just get kind of salty about Linda. Like you know how Linda's narrative is, she's just like,
fucking hate my life.
Hate my life. It's all shit.
Shit.
You know, you can really weave
Being
that.
a lender.
Yeah, you can really weave that into the story. I think. Okay, I think they're not worse than Stormcast. Stormcast don't even have an identity on the tabletop.
I can't. I can let you go higher than Gargants.
All right, okay.
You can't go higher than C.
I'm putting in B, and this is my reasoning. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it has this emotional reaction,
Okay.
which means it's good to watch. Because something good to watch.
But Gargants have that emotional reaction to me.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just PTSD.
That's a good argument. You're a perfect Nighthorn player then. Like, just get on board.
Fuck it, I'm buying Nighthorn.
Okay, there we go. Like, do it. I promise
Shit.
you, the first time you'll be like, these are all going to be 4-ups, and they'll all not be. Like, because people don't see
This
that.
is why I can't play Nighthorn. Because
Yeah.
any time I play them, I'll be like, haha, no rend. It didn't matter anyway. Fuck. Why do you think I play Beasts of Chaos now? Because I just don't get any save now.
Right. Okay. Right. Chat. What's the next army?
If you leave
please?
them in B, I'm going to leave.
I'm leaving them in B.
Fucking put them in C.
No.
Get that shit in C.
No. And, like, these don't even have an identity.
But at least, alright, put them both in C.
Also,
You cannot tell me flies are more exciting than 30 Blade Geists.
flies are less exciting.
What?
Yeah.
What? No.
I think that they're up here. Like, honestly, I think they're in. Okay. I would like everyone at home to notice that I am compromising, as my internet personality does not.
Actually, I'm compromising because you want A, I want Gargant, C's in the middle.
So I've put it in the middle.
Right,
I'm
so-
compromising.
I'm compromising.
We're both compromising, which really shows how adult we are. Well done. Well done on being good mates.
Yeah, I want to be Gargants now. Fuck you.
Get fist bumped. That was sad. Right. Okay. So next up is Gits. Okay.
I'm just angry.
I can tell. Really can tell.
Fucking don't like Nighthorn.
Very obvious.
I
Right.
like Gits,
Gits.
but also I hate watching them. Like, fuck.
Gits are amazing to watch because you're immediately on their side.
I think.
and you already know they're gonna lose.
Well, you say that though, but anytime I watch Dom play, all I'm doing is like, come on, Dom!
That's true.
Like those Troggoths.
Yeah, you got to cover the Troggoth game, which I didn't. But now, don't forget they are now Gallivets.
I'm so ready.
That's bad for them.
Or is it good?
You see it? None of it. Okay, narrative, great. Looks like a good army on the tabletop.
Hilarious.
It's got great backstory, like really
Squig
evocative.
gobbers.
Yeah, gobbers. Like everyone is emotional on the side of a goblin.
We are all just invested.
We are all.
It's a bit like Skaven. Like you watch them and you're like, come on, get 40,000 mortal wounds. Like if Gits got dragon level broken units, we'd all be like, this is fine. Like this is okay.
Yeah.
Like they do what they need to do.
Yeah, that's true.
And all you'd be rooting for is, I really hope they table the opponent.
Also, like, there's so many good stories. Like, you get to say Sneaky Sufflers, you get to say Gobblepalooza.
Fanatics.
Yeah, Fanatics.
Where are the Fanatics
and
hidden?
And also, every time you're just thinking of Nathan when you're talking, oh, he's got some shooters, and like,
It's just memes.
it's yeah,
Like the whole time.
yeah,
And I think we're both people of memes or nothing.
yeah, memes or nothing. Yeah, that's true.
Like-
That's true. Like, they are like, do they have any spiky moments? Like,
Squid Gobber. Or when it hits, baby.
when it hits, it hits.
Oh shit.
When it hits,
You might
like,
take some
if
wounds.
it hits.
You might take some wounds.
Yeah, if it
What about
hits.
Gits, like the stabbers in Bounty Hunters?
This is pretty good.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, they've got the rally mechanic now, which is pretty fun and
Awesome.
like really adds to that mechanic. They got Boingrots.
Also, watching Gits being destroyed is also hilarious.
It's also hilarious.
Like
I don't know why.
watching 60 grots get charged by like an elite unit and them just absolutely being decimated, and you're like, fuck, this is great.
Yeah.
And then maybe one surviving, you're like, oh shit.
I
Here we go.
really like how much we would big up a loom boss on Mangler Squigs. We're like, it is on, like a Gorky God Terror guys. It is on, and he gets there, it's like 3 damage. Like, it's like, but he can do
When
more.
you big up the moon mechanic and then it doesn't do anything.
It's quite funny. Like, remember, like an hour and a half in the game, we're like, by the way, table boss, where's the moon? And then the table boss will be like, the Gits player does not want to talk about it right now.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It bounced over.
Yeah, it's on yeah.
S tier.
Yeah, S tier.
S tier,
S tier. For no reason. Like, definitely not game mechanics reason.
Terrible.
Terrible.
It's probably the only army that I'm actually invested in the narrative. Because I'm just like, these little lads are having the worst time of their lives.
They've also got like a very like different looking army on the tabletop.
Yeah.
Like very different, and I think that's actually really telling.
And also, every Gits player has named all of them.
So great. It's so great. At any moment, also Nettus.
Where are the Nettus table boss? No idea, but there's 4.
That's, like, why can't that god of death hit this unit? Well, it's actually
Trapped in 4 nets, mate.
interesting thing there. Like, wait,
One for each limb. It's fucking done him in.
Yeah, okay. So Gits are up there.
I can't wait for them
next
to get
army,
like a
please.
new book and just like absolutely wreck face because we'll all be there. Like they can be the most broken army in the game, and everyone in the community
This
will be
is
like,
fine.
"This is okay.
This is fine.
Like,
this is absolutely
deserve
fine.
this.
Yeah, like this is so. Like everyone in the community is like, this is. I was talking to my partner like earlier today, and I was like, because like who was it? It's like someone made some other sort of like fruity T-shirt for like Age of Sigmar.
Fantastic.
Right? And I was just like 40k's gone a very particular way where they're like we're very serious, we're 40k sports tops. Yeah, Age of Sigmar are like, we have got a very outrageous T-shirt. Like, here we go. Or it's a cute purple sun.
We have gone
We've gone weird.
We've gone rogue.
We've gone weird as a community.
We've gone rogue,
Okay.
and I'm here for it.
Okay, Uruks in B, and I'm gonna.
I'd actually say B.
I'm gonna put them in S. So
Shit.
like
Okay.
absolutely everything about them is gold.
I hate more crushers.
I love more crushers because you would think a unit that can move 36 inches, delete something, and issue 3 command points would be something that people could use quite well, but that is absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm watching a more crusher move and I'm like, where is he? What is he doing?
Right. Can we just for 1 second, right? You and chat.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Right. Can we take the destruction bro out of ourselves for a second?
Okay.
Can we take the Giga Chad I can't read just like out of our brain for like 1 second and actually realise that all that's happening is this? A fucking move forward?
See, that's actually where I don't agree because, in my personal opinion,
Okay.
like if we're talking about Iron Jaws exclusively, and we really should do like all 3
Oh shit,
independently.
I'm wrong. Wergog.
Yeah,
S tier. Let's go, right.
Wergog also S tier, but we haven't got there yet, right? Like in that particular mechanism, when we're talking about actually Iron Jaws,
Yep.
yeah, like I actually think that like using little 3s really smartly is really interesting. The Blood Tooth mechanic is fascinating to see used because they've got too much movement, right?
Yeah, okay.
But that means you can fuck that up a lot, right? And they're also in places like, I don't know, I quite like that
I
bit.
really love the Uruk player that goes, I can do all this shit, and then does everything.
And it's
when
a
they
mistake.
just shouldn't have.
It's always a mistake.
Like, every time they're like, I'm going to move my whole army in your face, and they're like, they're shaking. They're just like, fuck, it's happening. And then they
like,
do it.
like 9 o'clock in the morning, they'll be on the phone to their coaching service. Like, all right, coach, about to play my first game. What do I do? Like, whatever you do, do not charge your entire army the first turn.
But
It's just at the table like...
and they obviously do it. Their whole army dies. And they go, I don't know what happened.
Listen, coach. I
So
just
what
charged,
happened was-
I charged the entire thing. I couldn't stop myself. It
And
was
then
so
next
good.
game, they go, all right, I'm going to learn from my mistakes.
Okay.
They give their opponent the first turn. They're like, shit, right. Don't move. They get to their turn. They go, fucking go.
Their opponent puts 2 10-man units of like skinks
they're like,
on
don't
2
do it.
objectives, and they're like, that is worth 1,800 points of my army charging it.
But their whole brain, the back of it's going, don't do it. Don't, not yet. Like, hold the objectives. And the Uruk player inside is just like, but charge. but I can charge.
Okay.
And then they charge.
All right. So my point is that's funny because we get to watch them be lunatics, but also you can actually see it played really well. Give Adeld at Worlds, shout out to you. Beautiful game of Warhammer.
Honestly, I hate it when Iron Jaws get played properly.
Why?
Because I'm just like, stop it. Just charge.
It's just when they're holding an objective, not charging.
Like,
it's
make a meme.
So there's that, and then obviously we move it to Bone Splitters. The Wergog's hilarious. Yeah.
Honestly, one of the best models.
Big Sabbers.
Although, but the thing is, do you remember watching Noah trying to play?
Oh my
was
god.
he playing Fabian?
With all the shooting in the crossbows.
Noah was just there, like trying to run up the board, and Fabian was like, "No, fuck off."
Yeah. That was a rough game. But the Big Stabbers is interesting and funny.
Yep.
Like spiky and fun. The Rogue Idol's great, like and fun. Like
It's not as good as when it used to do like 48-inch flying move.
correct, but it's still fun.
Yeah.
So that's good. So there's those two parts of the book which I think the Wergogs obviously super good.
Boys, they just bring the whole book down.
Cruel Boys. I mean, we never watch them. Like we never watch them.
It's because we can't see them.
It's because they're at the bottom tables.
No, because they're in the swamps.
Huh?
They're in the swamps. You can't see them. It's narrative why we don't see them.
That's true. They're in the swampy tier.
But also, when you watch Cruel Boys and they do like 1,000,000 mortal wounds, they go, "I've done it! I've done it!" And they've killed one unit, and you're like, "Right, okay."
Okay, now they die.
Can we just talk about how I know you've done 100 mortal wounds, but you've done it to one unit, mate?
Oh, so I don't know, like, so they're so fragile that, like, I've seen almost no Cruel Boys games because none of them have ever reached our tables. Like, just...
Or they've never been in the spotlight with us.
Fucking
hell.
And I don't mean that. I just mean, like...
All you Cruel Boys players, you'll never get here. Okay?
Right.
It's so mean. They're just trying their best.
Yeah,
They bought a starter set because matey in the shop
I've
said...
got a whole army ready to slap job.
Have you actually?
Yeah, like, I love that. Like, it's the coolest aesthetic. Like, there are people online who, and there are people around the world who've been genuinely using Gobsprak, yeah, quite well, yeah. I personally think that the voice of Gork, yeah, one of the most pretty models that you can build and buy, yeah, shouldn't be 280 points and effectively a screen.
Can I just tell you?
Yeah.
Right. I actually think there's a broken Cruel Boys list.
Oh, yeah?
Like legit.
Okay.
Okay, so Gut Rippers, I know they're 180 points. It is expensive, but 2 units of 60, or 2 units of 30, you know, they do a lot of damage. You can't see them until they're within 12 of you.
For shooting.
Yeah, so until you actually get close, holy shit, 60 wounds. The amount of mortal wounds they do, I actually think that's good.
Okay.
But everyone's so obsessed with, like, everyone's doing the Uruk thing. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Points.
Okay, it's a lot.
It's 1,000
Yeah, but everything else is cheap.
Okay.
Right, but anyway, it's 120 wounds. But
okay.
but every Uruk player or
Are they movement 5?
I don't know. It doesn't matter, does it? They can't see you.
You're not gonna get that. All right. Okay.
Run.
All right. Okay.
You're only 18 inches apart now.
2 60s. What are you gonna do?
2 30s.
2 30s. What are
Yeah.
you gonna 60 wounds each, isn't it?
Right,
What?
but you do the mortal wounds on 5s or whatever on them. They're better than fucking wardens.
Yeah. I mean,
And we know how much wardens do.
yeah. I suppose they're Galician veterans. They fight in like several ranks. All right.
Bounty hunter on.
That doesn't actually affect the mortal wounds, unfortunately. So
No,
actually,
but you can still.
Yeah,
the
that's
ones
true.
that don't do mortal wounds and have double damage.
Yeah.
But every fucking Cruel Boy player is going, ha, shooting, lol, pew pew pew.
Well, I mean,
All they've done is gone, I can take 18 crossbows and I'm going to do 1,000,000 mortal wounds.
I'm not.
I
convinced.
don't actually think Cruel Boy players.
But the thing is, though, is if they were
crossbows
ever
yet.
good, they'd be fun on the tabletop. They got different units, yeah. Like they have got like a great narrative. They look like an army. They've kind of got some synergy, I guess. There's that one guy who's like, you do more mortal wounds now. But the whole Uruk book, and then we haven't even talked about Big War. Big War's great because it's a mixture of everything. And whenever you see a Big War player, yeah, they're like a fine diner. A Big War player is someone who
Those
goes
are
to a
the-
restaurant and brings their own salt and pepper in their
They're
coat.
the dude that you want to tell to piss off.
No, they're not. They're
Because
great.
you're like, mate, I've had enough of this. I know you play a bit of everything. They're like, oh, I'm a Timmy, but I'm also a Jimmy, and I'm a spy,
and a Harold.
and I really love playing like everything. Like you're like fucking mate.
Ooh, have you thought about using Sladraco with some Cork runners?
It's like
Ooh.
I have so much synergy.
I've chosen a bit
But
of
then all that happens is they go, lol, charge.
tapas.
You're like, fuck. Right, you
they're the
told
tapas.
me all about all this synergy, and all you've done is charge.
Okay. Well, so I think S, but you want A?
I think A.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean.
They're not as exciting as Gits.
Or Skaven, that's correct, yeah. Okay, next book. It's a fucking great book, though. Like, I was thinking about this literally this morning. Those 2 top armies, even though, like, for entertainment, they're much bigger, like, you could have done an amazing job with New Skaven and made it like an Uruk Warclans book where it got, like, four different books inside of it, and then there was, like, a conjoined Skaven-tide one, yeah, that was a lot more, like, its own thing. Like, if you just did Uruk Warclans to Skaven, what an amazing book.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I'm bored with the Skaven book already. Not like the rewrite. It wasn't a rewrite. It's just because I'm like, you have a format. You did this. Just do that. Like.
Yeah.
Anyway. But what should have been. So anyway, Legion of the First Prince. Is it on here?
Can I just spoil this? D.
Just
I
Gargants.
just fucking hate watching
Gargants.
Legion
Whatever.
First Prince. Every time I play them, I'm like, oh, they do this, and your opponent can't. Oh, was that it?
There's actually some really interesting game mechanics from LOF players. Like, they're doing very clever shit on the table.
Don't get me wrong. Legion of the First Prince players are geniuses.
Yeah.
Like watching them played well, but like is awesome. But it's too complicated to make exciting.
But they're the Obama meme, right? They're like giving themselves a medal. Like, I bet they like. Actually, I'm going to Kairos dice that charge and just high five themselves.
Like,
yeah.
did it?
Let's put the Legion. I haven't got one for Legion of the First Prince. But
I'd honestly D&D.
To watch D. Yeah,
Like
D.
again, I respect all the Legions of the First Prince players. I think what
It's hard. It's hard to actually tell to it like.
But that's the thing. It's hard to talk about.
Because you have to be like. You have to be not incredible. You have to have a very high level of system mastery to understand what's happening in a Legion of the First Prince army. As streamers, it's incredibly tough to pitch.
Like trying to translate that to a noob is nigh on impossible.
Like what? Or we lack the language at least. Like
trying to say obviously these pink horrors, they want them to die because they want them to split, and then they can do this, and Kairos can do that to stop that unit from getting in to stop it, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, also, if you ever watch me streaming a Legion of the First Prince player, just like, take a shot every time I say, it's a bit like a Magic Blue control deck, like, every time. Like, I say that every time, yeah? Like, it's just like, that's all I ever say. Okay, so that's out of the way. Sinesh. Okay, Sinesh. So I've seen this play quite a few times recently, so I've got some thoughts.
Never streamed a Sinesh game with you.
Oh, okay.
No, we did one at Worlds. But
that guy was great.
But all that happened was he charged Seraphon.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, here we go! And then they all died.
That was a disaster.
Yeah.
That was a disaster. Okay, so Sinesh doesn't
so
have any...
I'm not going to...
Okay, so Sinesh doesn't have any, overarching mechanics that was particularly interesting other than depravity.
Okay.
Right? But then that does give us what we have with Flesh Eater Corpse, where we've got a summoning. Summoning always makes at least the conversation around the game that's happening more interesting because there are other decision points that can occur.
Yep.
Also, the hero staying alive so they can summon is an important kind of linchpin of story of the story for the army, which I think is interesting as well. They've got cheaper, which is good. They've got. I mean, we could they deserve at least B, maybe A, just for Sigvald's ass.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like Sigvald gives us the Sigvald memes and the Sigvald.
Also, for views, you get all the weirdos that suddenly pop up.
Yeah. Well, I heard there was a bit of Sinesh on stream.
Sinesh.
Is there a bit?
Dildo.
Is there? That's what they say every time. By the way, it's the god of excess. You mean dildo?
Sex. Lol. I've never had it. It's funny though.
Every time.
Fuck me, mate. Get out of the comments and go and try Tinder.
Anyway, so for army composition, they're pretty interesting. Although,
this is what I'm talking about. The chat's already having a go. Fucking hell, man.
nerf me harder, daddy.
Like,
there you go. Yeah, and that's and we do obviously this video has been full of profanity, but when we do live coverage because we do it at the weekend and we know there's lots of parents watching and they'd like to watch it, we try and do it like a sports cast and we try not to swear, which means we generally don't tend to go into sexual innuendo as well.
I love how both of us have two different personalities at this
Adam's
point.
a teacher.
I am.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I you got stream mode and this mode.
Yeah.
I like the ability to try and switch that shit off.
Super important. Super important. So I feel like and excess is a weird one, because also in some ways it's one of the more difficult gods.
It's why I love
Glutos or Scolian.
That representation of excess, so much better.
I would like to make a vote on Stormcast.
Okay, you want to drop them?
I want to drop them because I've just realised one of the things I hate the most.
Go on.
The difference between a Praetor and a Protector and
Get him out!
A Poseidon.
I want to drop them because I want Sinesh to be in B.
Well, like, it's just that all the names are like whatever. Like,
And also trying to remember which fucking characters are good.
oh yeah, that's
Because there's like 4 million.
Sorry, I just forgot that. I think also Slaanesh currently are interesting to watch because they're an
Well,
underdog.
they've got like the fun mechanic of, do I summon or do I keep the buff?
Yes,
Because depending on how many depravity points they've got, they get a buff or they can summon. So
and
I
it's a
think,
pretty good buff.
and like, because they can get a 5 at ward, right?
Yes, they can.
So like, do you want to keep that buff or do you need the 30 demonettes?
Yeah.
So I think that's the trade-off, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They don't have any like particularly long range shooting, but like the list that we normally see, and shout out to Anthony Trentinelli because he's basically what I'm quoting here, is Sigvald. Yeah.
Yep.
So already you've got like a really fun deep strike kind of like mechanic, which is kind of weird and fun.
That's the randomness that I love. Like, depending on whatever he charge roll is, depends how many attacks he has.
Yeah, yeah. So he was popping off. He played Joe Picano like at Summer Slaughter, and he was just popping off. It was like 10, 12. Like he was just like popping. And then when he got there, he was obviously murdering stuff because it's damage based on charge. So that was fun. Like, and Sigmar was really carrying that faction for entertainment value.
Yeah.
Blissful Archers are interesting because like they're like, so a unit of 10 is 20 shots, or like as everyone likes to quote me, oh she's 18.
Oh,
or
actually,
22.
you've got 11 in that
There
unit.
are 11. Yeah, there are 11 in that unit.
But one of them is just a buff piece.
Yeah.
So we don't actually count him, but there are 11.
Yeah, whatever. But they get like a lot of shots, but they're mega fragile. So like they're actually quite a fun
Is
unit.
it bad? I think Smash should be A, but because of the chat, they're B.
That's not bad because we're talking about our ability to have fun with it as an army, and while like Gitz and Skaven are kind of irreverent fun, like that's what I was going to talk about. Like even if we talked about Glutos, like I can't start calling him like a fat bastard because it's pretty ableist, and it's not particularly kind.
Funny though.
But like I'm talking about myself at the minute, but like it's like, I mean, they're all problematic. They're all doing murder. Yeah, but at least Git's doing it like they're like growing mushrooms on your head.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Like Mickey Mouse. Woohoo!
Yeah, we're kind of like evil Mickey Mouse.
Here we go.
Whereas there's nothing in Slaanesh that like they're like they're pretty problematic.
I think if Slaanesh went like more Glutos way rather than kinky, I think I'd be more into it.
But I think that's why I absolutely crazy love their kind of like Eastern, like European, Eastern market bazaar theme, because I kind of get it. I picture like that very classic picture of like the mountain of spice at the market.
Yeah.
Like
There's one lad who's in charge of all of it.
Yeah.
But like everyone's trying to get to that point.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like and I like that.
Yeah.
Like, but maybe I just lack the ability to communicate that and the rules. And ultimately, it's a
I
really.
think it's just the stigma that Slaanesh has.
It's a really badly written book as well. Like it doesn't do
Yeah.
like none of the characters are buffing each other. Like there's just literally some dudes.
Like Slaanesh just anger me. Like you're like, oh, this is gonna, like these units together, they're gonna do something really cool, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't happen. You're like, well, what the fuck was the point?
Yeah, they don't do anything as a unit. But then they have the resource mechanic. So like.
I think B's right.
Yeah, B's fine. And also, like, I at least understand what they are, like, as a unit. Not a Praetor, Protector, like, Vindicator. Like, I'm going to keep dropping them, actually. Next army, please.
They're going to be in Gargants by
Get me down. Like, and also, this is just like, we should do this again next year. Try and do this roughly again next year and see how we feel, like, versus next year, because I think that would be really interesting.
I think I'm still going to hate everyone.
Come on. You're a fun boy, not a sad
all
boy.
Gargants. I'm definitely a sad boy.
Yeah. Yes, that would be great.
I'm just all gonna be like. You know.
All right, let's pick another army. We are.
Do you want my spicy take? Do you want me to spice it all up?
Okay, go on.
Lumineth Realm Lords.
Okay.
I think you'll agree with me.
Hit me up with what you think and why.
S tier.
Okay.
Every time I watch Lumineth play, I love it. Like watching foxes do what foxes do, because the rage inside me is insane. But at the same time, I'm like, fuck, this is great. And the ability to watch a player, like, do you remember Matt Goldsborough's games? Where you take the 15 wind charges, and we could say, he's up here, he's down here, and now he's down here. And every recap we do is is they've gone all the way around.
But I would be recapping it and like I'm gonna really express to people that this should be something that
But,
doesn't
like,
happen.
How funny is that?
Yeah.
And also, like, actually, the skill level that you need for Lumineth is nuts.
Thank you to our
and when
assistant
you
producer.
watch a Lumineth player that's good with them, like watching the Pope JP when he was playing them at Six Nations.
Also,
I really
the game
enjoyed
with
them.
Archie, where Archie
Yeah.
lost the Sentinels.
Like, I don't think I've ever actually watched a game that I've hated when Lumineth have been on.
I mean, the ones where they win so fast we've forgotten.
Yeah, but like those also are quite funny because you're like, so they did this, and this, and they did this, boom, 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 boom. It's just I find they're fast, engaging, and they synergize well.
They synergize super well. That's kind of like
But there's a lot to talk about.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that gives us loads to talk
Yeah.
about, like when there are overlapping synergies. Because that's what I'm going to talk about when, like, I talk about. That's what I like about Nighthorn. Nighthorn do have stuff for me to communicate to an audience, like, and I'm like, look, like they're doing this, they're doing that, they get to retreat and charge. How cool is that? Like, that's fun. And I agree with you on Lumineth as well. Like,
Also, the meme of saying, 30 Sentinels, lol.
yeah.
Oh, what are they going to do? Sit at the back of the board and shoot! Hey!
I mean, it's also quite funny watching because there were traditionally two builds. Although shout out to Goldsborough for doing the Helon build, which makes us giggle laugh, and we'll never forget his game
mate,
against
like-
Speckles, which was like the funniest game ever. Like
you get the Techless
30 Sentinels.
or two Foxes 30 Sentinels.
Or two. It used to be three, but yeah, like two now. But they were always a castle build with the Foxes making it so you couldn't charge them. Or Techless making it so when you did charge them, they were super defensive. Like one of the two.
Or I've seen the 60 Wardens.
Yes, I haven't been to see that in person, but
I
I know.
quite like that build. Oh,
Okay,
he did.
yeah.
I think. Oh no, that Obey played the Foxes, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
And
Then took.
charged into.
But then he took him to.
Sorry, I just remember that game when he went into the Sharks. The Sharks just went fuck off.
They did. It was rough.
Oh, that was the. Fuck. See what I mean though? Like they're just hilarious.
They are. They have.
But you have to play them really well, and I think that's why I like them because like you only the good players play them. Oh, I don't want to say that. It's like when I've seen them, it's good players playing it, and actually watching high-level Lumineth is interesting.
Yeah, because it's kind of it's quite because you're right. It is interesting. It's like it's not a super fragile castle build, but it's like a castle that you can fuck up.
And if
like,
you make a mistake,
I also don't think it's. I don't think like it's overly strong on this version because I think you have to go get primaries turn one, like in Galette pack, so that you have to move into the mid board, which means like they don't get as much opportunity.
I disagree.
Okay, well
Just because I played when I played at Dan Arnold 2 weeks ago, like the way he played, it was so hard for me to win that game.
Okay.
And like watching him play that army, I don't know if it was a Dan thing or a Lumineth thing, but like the Foxes were insane in this battle pack.
Because they can score.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I don't think the Techless build is very good.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But
good.
the Fox build.
Okay. So the defensive castle isn't as good as them. So yeah. So we're saying the same thing.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Yeah. So moving into the mid board is like pretty key. So the defensive build isn't as
Because
good.
could you imagine that Foxes on Prize Gallet?
Yeah. They also have like loads of unique units.
Yeah.
Law Seeker, interesting, unique. and,
Love it.
like, yeah, that's
Love
fun.
talking about him. Like, where's he going to go?
What's he going to
like,
do?
How is he going to play this?
That's fun. You don't see them, but Dawn Riders. You don't see them at the moment, but obviously Wind Chargers. Like Dawn Riders and Wind Chargers also do very different things, even though they're like very similar sort of unit types. There's the Foxes, there's the spells. Like what spells are in effect as well? They have such game-affecting spells.
Because like, even though they've got a lot of spells, I think this is more of a I've learnt the book enough to be able to talk about it. But like, I know which spells are going to be impactful and which order they should cast them in. Like being able to talk about it for me is actually quite fun. Because like, are they going to cast Total Eclipse to stop their opponent using command points, or will their opponent not actually, does it actually benefit them to bother with that?
Plus the joy of watching 30 Sentinels get lifted.
Oh, fantastic!
Like, because for every game where they do well, there's the game where they get taken off the board.
When 4 minutes, just managed to get in. You're
just
like, oh baby.
Ooh.
Oh, here we go! But then you watch 30 Sentinels take off, and then Tech just runs around and kills the whole army.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, true.
Like honestly,
That's
Lumineth
true.
are one of
Combat
my
Techless is
favourite
also
armies.
fun as well.
Yeah.
Combat. So you think S?
I
don't think they're S.
I think one of my top 2 armies to watch play. But that's like me. But,
Okay.
you know.
I think A feels fair. They've got a resource mechanic, although we don't really talk about it that much. They've got very impactful, like, in army. They also look like an army.
Yeah.
Like, they look like an army, right? And I think that's kind of like... also, like, it's kind of like going home. Like, whenever you get Lumineth on, you're like, all right, we know what's happening.
Yeah, we're just like, cool.
Like, okay.
I got this.
Yeah, because like, because what I said...
It's comfortable to
there's-
stream it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, oh, thank
Yeah.
God. I
Yeah.
can do this.
Yeah, this is easy. I know what's happening right now. Okay,
So
yeah.
the 30 Sentinel's going to shoot.
They're going
The
to do
foxes
this.
are going to move.
Situational Blade Lords are funny.
I love it when they fuck up. And I'm like, you shouldn't have done that, dickhead. like, suddenly I become this, like, aristocrat. And I'm like, well, actually, what you should have done is the fox should have moved around here. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, oh, you fuck me, you sound like a prick. But my voice can't stop. And I'm like, ah you twats.
I really like you that you've become like an... I did not know that about you during the games. That was funny.
Like, sometimes I'll be mid-game and I'm like, fuck, what am I saying? Like, I am being an absolute asshole to this player.
I also love reminding people that there's 3-inch weapon on the Wardens, like all the time. Like I love it, because then whoever they're fighting,
You know
like
their spears are
if they're
4
doing
inches long?
yeah, whenever they're playing Soul Blight Gravelords, I'm like, we see that they don't actually have a 3-inch spear. Like, and it just makes me chuckle. Like, that's really fun. Okay, all right. A seems good for me.
Okay.
Next army, please chat. They're doing a lot on the tabletop, which means we get to talk a lot about it, and that's interesting. Chat. What do you want to see next? Soulblight Gravelords. Soulblight Gravelords. Oh man, this is fascinating.
Like, I think I just hate death.
Oh, okay. All right. At least you bias this show. Yeah, that's fair.
There you go.
I would say
you've got this.
Yeah, Soulblight Gravelords, perfect. Like, also for list reviews, they're perfect because they intrinsically have to play the same unless you're doing a Bloodlight list. So when you're doing Blood Knights, that's really interesting because they've got great charges. They do interesting stuff. They've got that once per game ability to like really spike their damage, which is pretty key because they can use it at the wrong time.
Yeah.
They can retreat and do more
Yeah.
wounds. And they're vampires.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's great story there.
I just, like, personally, I just find the whole faction boring.
Talking about Grand Alliance death.
Yeah, like, as a faction. I know, obviously, the faction, Grand Alliance isn't a thing anymore, but, like, the way that all of it plays just doesn't excite me in any way.
Okay.
Like, I find watching zombies play, I'm just like, whatever.
Oh, I don't know. The Pedromancer game, though.
That was hilarious.
Okay.
But I think that was just because of how badly the game just turned. And it was like, fucking hell.
I love that. I like Pedro just kept it. No, I think zombies.
Yeah, but I think like that game again is an exception, right?
I don't think so. Zombies, like, because if we committed to it during, like, if we were like, okay, we got Soul Blight, let's look out for what's going to turn into, like, if we like message like our table boss and we're like, watch out for what gets turned into a zombie.
Yep.
We get to have like. There's zombie, like that's fun, like, because that is happening on the tabletop, and I think that's interesting. Like Graveguard, when they get the opportunity to go in, which you have to do a lot on the table to make the Graveguard charge and engage. Love that. Manfred's fascinating. He's also like narratively.
I love Manfred.
Yeah, so narratively he's a dick. In game he's got some great mechanics, so that's cool.
Okay.
And I think that's really fun as well. Got a big soft spot for Belladama. I don't think she's particularly good, but she's got the crap Kairos spell.
Okay.
With the dogs.
Belladama's like changed it for me. Like trying to use obviously the dog to tag things.
Great combat. Yeah, that's super fun. So,
but I find it hard. It's hard to talk about
because they're a mid-board army.
Yeah.
Right, and they have to be like they don't even get to be reactive. They have to so we're talking about non-Blood Knight builds, FYI. Yeah, so like when you're talking
Blood
about
Knight builds can fuck off.
I like Blood Knight builds as well. Why? Why do you not like them?
Oh, I've got a 2+ save. Oh, lol. Fucking get in the sea, you twat.
I like them. They're vampires. They're a cavalry. Like,
if I kill this model that's got 1 wound, but I'll get this buff. If I kill this model that's got 4 wounds, I've got to remember this buff. And then every unit can do that. So now I've got to remember every single fucking unit and what they've done.
Maybe. Like, I don't know. Like, I like them. I like them because they work super well, Manfred.
You've convinced me more, and then you mentioned Blood Knights.
No, so you don't. You don't have to do Blood Knights. Like the rest of it, like is everything else is good. Like and also like when you see,
I used to enjoy the Vengorian Lord Manfred Zombie Dragon.
Or they've got the Zombie Dragon as well. They've got Vordry.
Love
like,
that.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of mechanics.
Okay.
All of their rules synergize with each other. Did they get Van Hel's Dance Macabre off? Like, did they get +1 attack on the zombies or the skeletons or whatever the hell? Like they've got like a variety.
Yeah.
Of like, I think they're great.
I'm definitely biased, like 100%. I just don't enjoy watching them play.
I personally think they should be A, because I think you can play them really well. They've got loads of great resources. They've got loads of like very situational things. They can spike big.
I think
great narrative.
One of the big things for me, I think I've only watched 1 or 2 games where I've seen them being played well.
Super hard army to play well.
But like I watched it, like the amount of players that have obviously. You can clearly see they've gone into a Games Workshop and gone, I fucking love zombies, and then they've picked up loads of zombies and then they play it and you're like, oh, stop it.
Yeah, so
like
it's because if you're
it's
like,
a bit like a starter army.
Yeah, if you're trying to do well at Age of Sigmar, a mid-board combat army that isn't the best combat army in the game is a weird flex.
Yeah.
Like, I completely get it. Because also, all of those things that we just talked about, like with Belladama's dogs, is Kairos, but is Kairos light, and therefore it's not effective, and therefore it doesn't happen as much, so you don't get to do the clever plays, so it's not as guaranteed. Even Van Hel's is something you can't guarantee, which like really just doubles the output of your army in some ways. So, like, compared to a War Chanter, as an example, like, where it just does. So, like...
I think I should enjoy Soulblight more than I say.
You should. Like, especially, like, with the way you play Beast of Chaos, I think that there's more options in that army than you give
Maybe
credit for.
I need to play Soulblight.
I think so. Like, it's very high on my list to play next. Like, just because it's the Galette Battle Pack, though, I feel like the Blood Knight version is better.
Hilarious.
Like, yeah, so they're rubbish.
I played a game at Shropshire.
Yeah.
Soulblight. And it was on the mission where you get extra points for killing galley vets. Right? And the guy kept bringing them back. And he was like, oh, I really hope I get this roll to bring them back. And I was like, I hope you fucking do as well. Get them back! And then he'd roll it. I'm like, yes, more points. And like, it was really bad because I don't think he realised that I was actually excited. I think he thought I was taking the piss out of him.
Okay, that's fair.
But I was genuinely excited when he rolled the dice to get them back.
Because you got more bonus points.
Because I was like, bonus points, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a lot of skill expression since the army doesn't really tell you how you're supposed to play it. Says Tavi. Tavi's right. Like the army itself isn't necessarily like giving you information, but narratively fantastic. It's vampires, zombies, and everything else. And like, yeah,
I think the thing that's making me like Soulblight is just Manfred. Most of the other things I find boring.
Belladama, Radicars are cool.
They're just characters that walk forward, really, and they do one thing. You're like, all right.
Yeah, like in a lot of ways.
But like Manfred is actually really fun.
Yeah,
do you stay? Do you teleport? Do you use him to charge to teleport to another place?
Yeah, he's got some good in
I just enjoy his like mechanic. Like
yeah. Okay, so that is our Soulblight Gravelords. Next up, chat. Well, bully me. Let's bully me for a minute.
Okay.
Tzeentch. In my opinion, like I've been playing them a lot recently, but they are absolutely up at the top. But you have to remember what current Tzeentch is, and because you're right, when it was 70 pink horrors,
I think it's just PTSD.
Like, yeah, that's fair. When it's 70 pink horrors, but like, do you remember we saw Ryan from Malta play with like his like summoning Tzeentch build?
And I still didn't enjoy it.
Okay, what did you like about it?
I don't enjoy Tzeentch because there's the intrinsic. There's a thing in the back of my mind which is. What Destiny dice have they got? And when I'm calling a play, so like obviously sometimes me and you will guess a play, right?
Yeah, because risk is an inherent element of what makes it entertaining to watch.
But to me, what makes it fun is Skaven. Like Skaven do fuck, is this gonna happen? Am I gonna get it off? We're interested. Gits, same thing. When are they gonna unleash this? What's gonna happen? You know, how are they gonna play it? Tzeentch is, yeah, they've got 2 6s. They're gonna charge there, kill that unit. Yep. Kairos, their opponents made a double 6 charge. Oh, they've changed it to 1. They failed.
I think like Kairos is.
It's such an anticlimactic army.
Yeah, all right, that seems fair. That is fair. But I want you to know it's not anticlimactic for the Siege player. The Siege player is having a ball.
They're like, my skill of rolling a double six. Oh, wait,
No, I don't mean that though. Like the Carriage mechanic is
Fuck off.
like having obviously played like 10 tournament games in the past like 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah,
like that mechanic, like it is super engaging to to yourself, obviously not to the opponent. I think from a caster's perspective, I've gained some new insight into it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Playing it, casting it, I hate it.
Okay, that's fair.
Like
that's
I played you the other week.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy your army.
Oh.
Like I enjoyed the game.
Yeah.
We had a great game. It was really fun. But I was like, when you did the double six charge, I was like, well, what the fuck could I have done about that?
Yes, you don't get any choices.
You know what I mean? Like I was there, like, well, where was my reaction? How could I have played that better? And there was a play that I could have done instead. Like, don't get me wrong, I was hungover as fuck. But like at the same time, it was a bit like, oh, really? Like, was that it?
You didn't have to roll anything.
When I set up for these really nice plays, you just went, yeah, I'll change that dice, thank you.
But then also, interestingly, but then you also have Be'lakor, right?
Oh yeah, Be'lakor is horrific.
But like,
I wouldn't.
But I'd say Bellacor's really interesting to cast. I like Be'lakor casting because Be'lakor, like, what Be'lakor decides to block.
I think because that's a once thing. I know Kairos, but I'm not even talking about Kairos dice. I'm just talking about Destiny dice, and also the fact that when in order to change your Kairos cast dice, they just changed it to the highest dice.
Yes.
I just personally, I don't find them that engaging.
Okay.
And but saying that, I love the 18-inch kill box and watching people just walk into it.
Okay, yeah. As a caster, the 18-inch kill box is like fun to like express
because like you can actually draw that. You can visualize. You can be like, right, if the opponent walks into this box,
which he shouldn't do.
They shouldn't do it. They'll die. And then the next turn, the opponent goes, "I'm Iron Jaws, lol." And you go, "Fuck, why? No!"
That is engaging.
Stop it.
I enjoy that. Yeah.
So like, actually, that buffs them quite a lot.
Yeah.
For me,
because it's fun. It's that circle. But you're right. Like they've got like they. I think the cheater dice, so the Destiny dice, is
the
like,
Destiny dice ruin them for me.
To play against or to cast?
To cast.
Because like for me as a caster, like you then have like loads of options.
But
because
for me, it's the Destiny dice are ruining my engagement.
Okay.
Because I'm like, oh, they could try this, they could do that. It's not. Yeah, they will do that. They can do that.
I think some of my favorite Zinch games that I covered, like that we've covered, like going back to like TTS days, like and it's the same book, so and it was an Archeon build, of course. But like
what?
Yeah, like and ignoring yeeting the Archeon.
Yeah.
What's interesting is about that build is then it was because it was Archeon and Kairos, so now you're talking like 1,200 points were gone, and then you were spending another like 300 points on Screamers. You had no points, and you were spending another like 70 points on the thingy. Remember what's his name? He's in Team England, the big fella that lived in, like Amsterdam or something.
He follows
that guy. Yeah. So he would use his 3 units of 3 Screamers. Or actually, when Daniil played, like Daniil would use remember that super fragile 6 Exalted Flamer build.
Yeah.
Although that we're talking about in the past. Like one of the things I really like about the army is that like at any moment someone just destroys Kairos and you win the game. Like there's that.
I could agree they can go in B tier. So I don't think they're as bad to watch a Stormcast. But I cannot say they're as like as Feck, Ossiarchs.
Yeah, that's fair.
Orruks.
That's super fair.
I think B is about right.
I think that's super fair. And also for new people to explain, it's difficult.
Because
and also
for me,
there's only so many times I can say like soar into the future.
Yeah. I think for me it's the more like the language that I've got to use.
Oh, okay.
Like maybe they'll try that, or as opposed to they can do that.
So there's no risk in the setup. Okay, that's
like to me, like the language I've got to use is very different. And in my head, if we're covering 4 games, like trying to remember what Destiny dice they've still got available.
Well, I mean, there's a new Zinch book on the horizon, so it doesn't matter anyway. But like the current Galette version of Zinch, because Adam's absolutely right. If we did this 6 months ago and it was just 70 pink horrors, then that's absolutely been like straight down Gargant tier. Although I personally love watching pink horrors.
Do you not remember the games where you had like all the pink horrors and you're just like fuck, and it was almost hilarious because like they couldn't do anything. You were like, this is brilliant. And watching the opponent, like the Zinch player, trying to like pick up all the pink horrors and put them back. Oh,
Yeah, they were working super hard.
it was like comedy gold.
It was.
Because they were there like, I'm the best player ever. And
I
you're
love
like,
pink horrors.
Shit,
Pink,
man.
pink horrors are so great. Like, I like
I really
them.
love playing a pink horror player and then not doing anything to them. They're like, why are you not killing them? I'm like, because you're not having any more models, you dickhead.
No more models for you.
And they're like, but what? But you should kill them. You're like, no. Why would I do that?
Yeah, that's true. But then that's fun to talk about when they do kill them.
Honestly, if it was pink horror, it's S tier.
Yeah.
Just for the sheer enjoyment of watching the player suffer. Because they've got to be like, oh no!
How will I do that? I mean,
And they've got to do the math in their head of, wait, so they've done 100 wounds, and I've got 150. So if I spent £50 on a... And you're like, fuck me. Is this some kind of like GCSE like question of
it's
like...
not easy to explain to people.
Shit.
Like, it's not easy. Because, like, yeah. Okay, all right. Black Toby in the chat, by the way. Pink Horror Mirror is the funniest. No one wants to kill anything. I agree. Like, Mirror, actually, something that's not on here, worth talking about right now. Mirror matches are one of my favourite matches to cover.
I'd actually
Not
agree
Gargants.
with, yeah.
Not Gargants.
Nah, even
Like,
Gargants.
asterisks.
Hilarious.
Oh my God.
Whoever gets the first turn. Yay!
This is mine now. Yeah, so I'm going to say mirror matches.
I love a mirror match.
Mirror match are
Like,
fantastic.
I love talking about a mirror match because I don't have to remember as much, but also
true.
because like I want to know the different play styles. Instead of comparing armies, you're comparing player skill, and that's fun.
Or even just list diversity, like
Yeah.
like what one unit in one role does versus one unit in another role. Or even like, because that's true, like you get to see all of those allegiance abilities and special abilities applied against itself.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating.
Love it.
Like, yeah, again,
Like I
importantly,
really want to see a Sylvaneth
not Nurgle
mirror.
Flies versus Nurgle
I
Flies.
really want to see a Sylvaneth mirror.
Me too. Yeah, like let's do Sylvaneth next, right? Like, because I agree, let's do Sylvaneth.
A tier.
S for me.
Really? Okay.
It's just currently like, don't get me wrong, it's got way too many tools.
Okay.
But I love the narrative, loads, and I'm
Okay.
with you. I like armies looking like armies, but that has got some of the sickest amount of like the rule set and its like toolbox suite of abilities
Yep.
is massive. This diversity is pretty high, yeah. So like, there's that, which I think is interesting. Sure, everyone relies on Strike and Fade, sure, and Spite Swarm Hive, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's one version of the build, right? And I think in 6 months' time, like, if you play very regularly competitive Age of Sigmar, you're gonna be like, okay, I get that you're gonna do this, but like, I think that
But
they've
they're
got
a bit like, so I loved Lumineth, right?
Yeah.
For the Fox build. They're
Okay.
a bit like that.
yes.
Like, it's that tech that you just like, right, which unit will they put in? Will they strike and fade here? Because is it actually going to be more beneficial to them? And you're trying to think about how the Sylvaneth player is thinking. But there's like 1,000 different plays.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. They've got so many options, and like they've got so. I played Tom Connell. He had like a Treadwood build, which is different to like an Alariel build, and like they're all pretty much using the same thing of striking and teleporting away. But like 5 Tree Revenants can be game winning, so you always have to keep your eye on them, and that gives us like a hot button.
But even Old Book. So Old Book is still fairly similar. I know it was Bin, but it does the same thing but better.
The new book versus the
Yeah,
old book.
so like, so obviously we've seen a lot of the Old Book, right?
Yeah.
But like the Old Book actually plays very similarly to New Book. The New Book just does it better.
Okay.
So like, but watching like Math Mallow play Sylvaneth was honestly my favourite experience.
Okay.
Because you would have no idea what the fuck that dude was doing, but somehow he'd win. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And anytime I see Sylvaneth, I'm like, they've got like 5 models.
I also like if we're looking at the numbers, while they've got like a triggering amount of like abilities, yeah, and their units also do some crazy stuff. Looking at the event results, like they just like, I think it's got a really high skill floor and a super high skill cap.
I think if you get a player who's a 5-0 player, so like someone who goes to events and consistently wins all their games,
And sticks with the army.
yeah, and they play Sylvaneth, they will be nigh on unbeatable.
Yeah. Also,
But you give it to a mid-range player, they'll get dicked every time.
yeah, I think there's some really like, if we're talking about list building and actual like meta stuff, I think there's some really good stuff people could stick in right now. Like, I think there's a good Slaves to Darkness build just because it plays so well into everything else. Pre-game moves some stuff. take a bunch of like attacks from Marauders or something like that does a lot of like attacks. That goes into Nighthorn and takes them out.
Yeah.
Like so, like, but that's a side note for the moment. Like, I think it's narratively it's really fun. You get to make a lot of tree puns. That's never bad.
He's gonna leave this alone.
That guy's a real sap. Like, I mean, that's just good. That's just good, right? Yeah.
Shit.
So like,
Yeah, okay, I'm
or
into
just
it.
wood. Sorry.
It's why INF's gonna be S tier. Just FYI.
Yeah, FYI. FYI. So like, yeah, like, but for me, they're up there for a pure like
I agree.
game mechanic.
Yeah.
Like, I think that they've got lots of plays.
And because like both of us can have a proper discussion about what's their next play, and then they'll do something completely different. We go, oh, they were wrong. We were wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that was a better play.
Also, I think, like, based on, like, I think maybe also because it's new. Ask me this in 6 months, maybe this changes. But I think there's also a variety of builds. It all uses strike and fade, but I've seen, just looking at the results that we do on AOS Stat Center at the weekend, I've seen a Lariel build, I've seen the 12, not the Spite Lancers, the other ones, the other Bug Riders, a unit of 12 of those. Obviously, they did went 4-1.
1 million Kurnoths.
Yeah, I've seen a million Kurnoths.
I still
of
haven't
course.
seen the
I've seen
18 bows yet.
Bro, I've seen a Tree Lord build. 4-1.
Mate, I've played it. So good. So
So
good.
what is going on?
So good.
Right? Yes. Hello, everyone. The fox we're referring to, by the way, is the wind spirit, so the Lumineth.
Hurricane Wind Spirit,
Yeah,
or Severith.
Yeah, nailed it. Are they talking about? Okay, so I think they're up there, just from a game mechanic perspective.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, chat. What do you want to do next? Yeah. What do you want next? I mean, I guess we're gonna just not even say why and just D them off right now.
I'm so glad we're on the same
I
page.
mean,
Fuck.
like, okay.
I hate watching Seraphon. I don't think I've enjoyed a Seraphon game.
I think at this stage, I also. But you have to remember, they're like one of my favorite factions. Like,
Yeah.
and at this point, like, I have to put it in D. Like
You watch it and you're like, okay, so you build up all this shit and the opponent will play really well. And then all of a sudden you go, the Seraphon survived and the opponent's dead? What?
Yeah.
And there's no rhyme or reason. It just happens. Because they go, I'm going to give this guy run and charge. I'm going to give this guy the mortal wounds. I'm going to give this one the fucking double tap shitty piss off you cunt thing.
We're being demonetized. This is a zero for profit video now. Thanks, Adam.
Oops.
I might bleep, go through and bleep every bit, like zero. Zero words come out of your mouth.
Fucking hate Seraphon.
Yeah, okay, so for context for everyone watching at home, me and Adam have watched 1,000 Seraphon games. Lots of them were Thunder Lizards.
Like, literally.
And also, you weren't there. Like, this is super important. If you weren't there was a time, you might be new to Age of Sigmar, there was a time when COVID was happening and most tabletop games couldn't be played. Me and Adam were discussing how we both had really tough times during COVID. And one of the really great things was, shout out to Owen Jackson and everyone else who organised, like, tabletop tournaments from TTS, and Adam.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
for organising tabletop tournaments on TTS. That led to like us getting to cover a lot of games. So you won't remember there was a time when Seraphon, like, you
Remember
thought
the
Seraphon
12 Salamander build. You're like, fuck off. 80 points.
It was a lot.
We watched. Who was it? It wasn't Obeyed.
Sure, it was Ridge.
It was one of the
TTS.
London lads.
It was Obeyed. Obeyed had all the salamanders.
It was Obeyed, wasn't it?
It was Obeyed,
And
yeah.
he literally just took all of the Salamanders and went, lol. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, and Tavi says it's because you cover the top tables. So of course, because we cover the top tables, like when we're at a
But
tournament.
Seraphon wouldn't be as they're still as boring if you put them on a top table with a good player as if you put them on the literal bottom table.
Well, so okay, so to give some context to that, and also for you people at home, I used to when we go to tournaments, a lot of people, like, we normally cover 4 tables when we go to tournaments, or when we're doing an event here, we'll cover 4 tables just so that we get to show to the audience a variety of different matches and games. when we go to tournaments, and we generally start to pick towards like the top tables towards the end of end of Saturday and then Sunday. So because of 5 rounds, we normally put everything else on the early rounds. The problem is when we do that is then we have no context because there are players doing stuff that we do not have any clue what they're doing and why, because it's crazy. It's crazy. So like they're the worst games to cast because it's so hard to watch someone make mistake after mistake after mistake.
Yeah, because you're like, right, here's what I would do, and then you go, oh, they didn't screen?
Yeah.
Oh, their army's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's the worst. It's the worst, and you don't know that that's going to happen, and you want to give everyone an opportunity to be on the stream. So like generally, but like one of the things I try and do when we're at tournaments, me and Adam talked about this a lot. We try not to put our friends on. But we generally get to know a lot of the people who play towards the top of tables.
Yep.
But we try and avoid that. Like, I'm super serious about that a lot of the time. We try and show new armies or armies people want to see.
Yep.
Different and interesting builds. So that's stuff that we try and put on the stream. I should be really clear about that. That said, we saw Seraphon all the time, and like, I just don't want to watch anymore. I'm done watching. I'd like to see. See, what's it like? I'm just not watching them.
I think, like, for me, like...
But they're a fascinating army.
Oh.
They are. They do have loads of overlapping abilities. Their narrative is pretty good because they're dinosaurs. They look like an army a lot of the time. The slan is genuinely just hilarious. It's just a toad on a stool. That's great stuff.
I disagree with literally everything you've said. Their narrative is shite.
I like the narrative because there's 2 different types of narrative.
Literally couldn't care less.
Okay, all right.
The overlapping abilities are ridiculous.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's like, you get the thing, and then you get the other thing, and then you get the other thing, and then... wait, you can't do that. You know what? Now you can. You know what?
They also get loads of CP. Do you haven't,
but and then you're like, that. Resource management. There you go. Oh, right, the OCR players have like 7 discipline points, but he's going to need like 4 of them to be able to do this. The Seraphon player, you go, he's just there like CP for days, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're just like... Why?
Because it's actually really interesting watching like a CP starved army have to take the first turn or want to take the first turn and then know that they're short on CP. That's actually quite interesting.
Where everyone's like, lol, 4+.
I mean, we don't really need to say much more than we've seen them too much. But also we've seen every trick that can be pulled, and be done. And also the book is really about 4 war scrolls. Well, 6, but whatever. But there's loads of units left to the side. Troglodon, we rarely see.
But the thing is, the issue I've got with Seraphon is no matter the build, they're still doing the same shit.
Yeah,
because you get the guy that's like, yeah, well, I've taken a Troglodon. You're like, yeah, but you've still got 2 Bastillodons and the Priest.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
Can we? It's like Gargant players.
Yeah.
Gargant players. Yeah, but my list is different. You're like, but
that said though, you can play them badly. You can play them I don't know, and they spike. They're not in Gargants because they spike. I think if we hadn't seen them as much, they would be more towards this kind of mid category.
Nope.
I think I genuinely do because you would they have all of the things that we've given other armies, right? Lots of overlapping.
I think they have too much.
Yeah.
They need something taken away for me to find them interesting.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm like, right, so that Bastillodon on there, what he could do, his range is this, he can do this, and then maybe he can do that. And then I go, oh wait, right, he can run in charge, he's got a 1+ save, he can literally go anywhere and no one can kill him. Right, fucking sick.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Do you know what I mean? If they took away the run in charge, I'd be like, right, his opponent can stay out of range of it, he's not going to get the double tap. Whereas because you get the Seraphon player goes, oh, double tap, away!
Yeah, and just kill stuff. Yeah, it's good.
And you don't even have to be a good player.
I think now you do. I think that they're different now. I think they've tapered off. Numbers also support that, right? Because
I'd argue that people are going, haha, we're going to play Seraphon, we're going to be hipsters. But actually, as soon as they go back to the actual good build of I can play Salamanders again, they're going to skyrocket. Because now you can go, my Salamanders don't give away points, I'm going to take 6 again. In Draco's Tail, drop down, kill your army.
Yeah, I mean, that was the list I didn't take to Clash. Remember I told you? I was like, this is just too horrible.
Yeah.
It's
but
just
as soon as people start doing that again,
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to be horrific.
Yeah,
But, like, salamanders in fangs, terrible. Why would you take that? Just take it in Draco's tail, teleport it, kill your army.
I don't know why you don't just one turn Purple Sun, Draco's Tail, murder the
Yeah,
world,
like,
but,
people are trying to be like, yeah, I'm doing this. Ha ha ha, I'm so cool.
You're right. There is a
Like,
lot of
just-
himps to Warhammer at the minute. Like, and I don't mind that though.
I mean, I'm playing 10 cockatrices for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Like
Like-
Tom Guan just went like, did he go 5-0 or 4-1 with Khorne? I think it was 4-1. Like with Khorne.
Go for one.
Yeah. I like how like people would like Adam in the chat's just like, I will pay for a 3-hour Bash Seraphon stream.
I
Like,
am literally up for it. Give me another couple of drinks and we can go all
if
night.
you like dinosaurs, we don't mean that they're a whole army. We've just seen them a lot at this point. And
if you play Seraphon, stop it.
there's just nothing fresh to say, right?
Just bored
Right,
of it.
not many left. Okay, so where do you want to go?
Can we go Ideneth to get my hype back?
Okay, I need to go big.
Like, because I need to get my energy back.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I need Deepkin.
For me,
Great.
S tier. Mainly because this is definitely biased.
Okay, good.
I love the army.
I know that. Yes.
Love the army.
Yeah.
I love aggressive armies being played.
Yeah. Okay.
I enjoy the mechanics of like the synergies that you've got to keep in range of.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tactics you've got to do, and then when to unleash the alpha.
I agree with all of that, but then I have to say, turn 3 now, game's over.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Yep.
Because from like a casting perspective, it's quite interesting because what we're trying to do.
But I love that build-up.
Yeah, because what we're trying to do normally is we build the story up over 5 turns, but when you're playing Aina Deepkin, you're really just telling the story to turn 2, and you're like, oh, turn 3, it doesn't matter, it's over. You know what you're saying about Tzeentch dice?
Yeah.
It feels a bit
That's
final. Like, it feels a bit final, because everything else, I'm like, I love that they're fish, I love that they're like, so narratively they look great. Like, it's fun because you get to say that they're like the shit children of like Teclis. Like, that's fun to say.
Ideneth Lumineth match.
Yeah, that's always fun. Like, good kid, bad kid. Like,
I think for, like it's the speed of the army.
yeah.
So like I get very bored very quickly with games.
Okay, yeah.
Like I can find some games. I'll do an hour of it, and I'm like, fucking hell, just.
I
stop.
sent Adam a 9.5-minute battle report earlier, and he said it was too long.
Well, to be fair, like I just went back on TikTok. I was like, I need 20-second videos.
I was
in
like,
my
how
life.
can we do this for the Zoomers? Come on!
Like,
Right.
what you need to do is just have that one clip of fuck.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm
just
like,
that.
yeah, like.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Zero context more.
Whereas Ideneth, I'm just like, smash it forward. Fucking go.
Yeah, I mean, like they're quite interesting as well because they're the perfect.
Zoomer army.
There are a good Zoomer. Yeah, moist all over. They're
Jesus, that was. Right.
No, okay.
What
So
the fuck?
yeah, the because they've got units that like a dual purpose, right?
Yeah.
Which I think
I love watching sharks play.
sharks are
Like,
interesting.
when are they going to unleash the combat of them?
You hate Leviathan interesting, but I think it's actually a really interesting piece. Like on the tabletop, I think the mechanics are
Oh,
good.
interesting. I just don't enjoy it as a player.
But I think it's going to have to like drop down because I hate the always strikes first mechanic because as soon as this happens on the tabletop, as soon as it's on stream, I think of Khorne, I think of any combat army, and then I realise that Games Workshop has put literally a ceiling on combat. They're like, all combat must be over by turn 3, or this army wins, and I just think it's silly. Like I really do. They're hypermobile, which is interesting and fun for game.
But I really like the hypermobility is what makes me think S.
Yeah.
Because I
Also,
love,
if the smash king goes in, that's great fun.
but for like my reasoning for Lumineth being S.
Yes.
I love Fox build, like the Severeth build.
I agree with all of that, apart from
because,
the always
like-
strikes first round 3.
That's fair.
Just it has to go down
Because like I just love like obviously eels being like right they're in the back of the board, but next turn they could go here. They have like the options that I can talk about. It's just awesome.
it's just rough being defeatist for a whole round in a game.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
being
yeah.
like this player has no
But
options.
then I also love it when the opponent goes, all right, I just won't bother, and they almost they position themselves at the turn 3 doesn't do a lot.
Mm.
I really enjoy that as well
Mm.
because it's hard to do, but it is doable against Deepkin.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So B seems decent. What do you want next? Chat? What do you want? I see Aldam in the chat, so let's just do
B.
Daughters of Cain, Barathi and the Bow Snakes, and literally nothing else.
Do I do? For me, they're B or C.
I mean, it's like, so there's no list diversity. Oh, I wouldn't choose combat snakes. Okay. Like,
I think if people started leaning into more of the the witch elf blocks,
yeah, so like Jeffrey Mazura.
I think I'd be more excited.
Yeah.
But because literally everyone goes, I've got Morathi, I've got some bow snakes.
Yes. But
I dislike. I love watching Morathi on the table.
I like watching. I like.
enjoy-
It's so fun to talk about.
But I don't like watching the dock player.
Yeah.
I like watching their opponent how they deal with Morathi.
Yes. Of course. Like because it's a problem. Whenever Marathi goes on the board, you're like, here's the problem. You re-explain the problem to everyone at home,
Yep.
and then you see how the opponent deals with the problem.
So
then,
like, do they just shoot it? Do they try and tie her up? Do they? There's like so many
because it's kind of like a ticking clock that we
Yeah,
have on
yeah,
the
yeah.
stream, which is like, oh, another 3 wounds, we like tick it off. Like, that's fun.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
really engaging.
And that turn when she's only got 3 left, and you're like, oh, she could go down, and then they only do 2 wounds. You're like, shit!
Yeah.
Oh, she's there for another turn.
That's fun. The heart renders are good. That's fun and interesting. You don't really see the cauldron, but sometimes you see the cauldron, but you don't really see the cauldron much. Like, I don't know. Like, it feels
It
like
also
it's,
is hilarious when people don't do the 3 wounds to her.
Yeah, I mean, that's fun.
Like when you're like, why you just do the 3 wounds a turn? It's 3 wounds. It's not a lot of resource.
Yeah.
Like you can easily do 3 wounds to something a turn.
Yeah. So someone asked in the chat what people normally do. They normally apply
Always do the 3 wounds.
You do 3 wounds and you don't touch her. Like that's the tactic. 3 wounds don't touch. 3 wounds don't touch. Like you just got to chip her down, and like that's interesting because some people don't have that in their army.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they're sacrificing a unit to do the 3 or whatever they might be doing. Also, you can watch people play that. Marathi is a skill piece. I'm going to say it. Like a load of people are going to be like in the comments now. We're going to
Do
be
you
like,
remember
"No."
when we watched Six Nations? We watched
Alex Bruce.
Alex Bruce.
Alex Bruce screamed with it. It was beautiful to watch.
I was talking about when it was played badly. Dan Bradshaw. I can't remember who played it.
Hey, Dan played it. Dan played with it. No.
No,
Dan played,
Dan was playing Sharks.
Yeah, and Dan played against the Swedish Liara.
Was it Liara?
Yeah, she was using. Yeah.
I think it was someone else. But anyway, like all we watched is Dan just be able to go, just keep chipping Marathi, and then she charged, he unleashed hell, and then it died, and we were like, oh. And
Yeah.
actually, that to me was quite exciting because it was like how Dan played against Marathi there, and how the Marathi player went in. I was like, wait, she's not actually that much of a problem. But if you actually use her well, you're like,
Yeah, she's got a much higher skill cap than we give her credit for because like she feels a bit like.
well, if you waste her, right?
Yeah,
she can survive only 2 turns.
It's very
'Cause it's 3 rounds. It's 3 wounds a turn, not round, right?
The opposing player really has to understand what Marathi does.
Yeah.
Sorry. The Marathi player has to understand what the opponent's army does. They have to understand the tempo at which the opposing army wants to play and engage. So, like,
Because there's a big argument when you have Marathi, is you just teleport her forward, charge in, and go, ha ha, yay! And every time that happens, she dies by like.
if your
turn
opponent
2.
can't put any damage on a turn 1, why
Well,
are
yeah.
you doing it?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What's your purpose? Yeah. Do players even complain about not being able to do those 3 wounds? Out of no, I agree. Like I'm saying that I think Marathi is interesting and like on the tabletop. So I'm going to put B, and I think that's good. Like.
Yeah.
I think it is, because if nothing else, it's kind of like a blank slate to always show what the opponent's going to do against it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
I think I enjoy Marathi more for the opponent. Bow snakes are boring as fuck.
oh, of course.
Like, being able to double tap bow snakes is stupid.
It
Being able
is.
to double tap anything in the game is
But
stupid.
then also, the bow snakes also like have like they don't have, they're not long strikes, right? They don't have cross the board like coverage.
32 inches.
It's good. I'm not saying it's not good, right? But what I mean is I think there's some playability around it, and they're like 24 inches to shoot though, because as soon as wherever they go, it's 24 inches, yeah, and then your opponent's got strike back on 24.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing bow snakes. Like you could fix bow snakes, obviously take the commandability away from Marathi, but also just change them to 18 inches, and the game becomes far more interesting.
Yeah, that's fair.
Becomes far more interesting. Like 24's close enough, but 18 would be crazy. Okay, Cities of Sigmar. Cities of Sigmar.
This is just too diverse a book. Because you've got Iron Drake builds, which I'd put in D.
D.
Yeah, Phoenix Guard builds. I'd put in D.
I mean,
And then you've got like some really fun. I really enjoyed watching Fabian's army
with the
with
crossbow.
the protectors and the crossbows.
Yeah. I mean, but then we've also got like Gavin's army that we saw play at
Like
LVO.
this is one of those armies you can't really rank because they are so different to each other. Like, there's some builds I'd be like, yes, S tier, and there's some that I put in Gargant tier.
But I think that's what I like about it. Like, I think you can say, like, let's put this, like, BA, because, like, as soon as we see a cities list, you're like, okay, cities is the perfect book, like, in loads of different ways, right? Because they're like, here is a variety of war scrolls, and we've written loads of them really badly.
Oh, so badly.
So we'll just throw 60 to 8% in the bin, okay? And that's a shame, because that's really on them doing that part.
Wild Riders, let's go. What shields are they taking?
Forever, baby, right? But we'll throw them over there. But then, actually, what you're left... And also, don't forget, you can put Stormcast in it, so that's stupid, right? So it's huge.
Or KO.
It's a,
Or Daughters K now.
It's a huge book,
Like...
right? So you've got loads of list building options, which is fun. But the bit that, like, kind of, like, excites me is that you're going to see a Hammerhall build, and immediately that is different to your
Living
Phoenician
City,
build
yeah.
or your Living City build.
I think I'd enjoy them more now that the living cities can't move closer.
Because it was so auto, you just like, why wouldn't you do that?
Like you have 8 fulminators. You're like,
Like, that was like a non-brainer. Like, whereas like, what's Freddy running? Freddy's running.
Oh, the 6 Vanguard Paladors.
Amazing, and the protectors in
Awesome.
In
Yeah.
yeah. Like I think list diversity is like. I do not.
They're basically Stormcast, but interesting.
No, there's so much more. They're
Yeah, I'm saying
they're Soulblight. This is
Alright.
what you don't see. They're Soulblight Gravelords, but interesting, right? Because they have like loads of like ability to choose stuff, and they completely change how they play. Like, I love them. I think that they're a great toolbox, and like they're fun. And then when you actually get on the tabletop, they tell great stories because they're just.
And to be fair, like someone with a city's armies, like if you had 2 players with the same city's armies, they can play them in very different ways.
Very different way. Yeah. And so like you've got list diversity out of the yazoo. You've got loads of overlapping buffs. Some not great opportunities. That's one of the things that the army doesn't do well. Is it doesn't spike damage particularly well.
If anyone plays Phoenix Guard though, they go in Gargant's tier. I don't give a shit.
Cities is really interesting.
Like do you remember the 90 Phoenix Guard build? And it was just like.
Shout out to Philip. Bless him.
It was.
He's doing okay.
Was it Mike?
No, Mike was doing 70. Philip was doing 80 to 90.
Oh, the worst.
It's rough. It's rough.
Like, what are you going to do? Move forward? And then it would just lose as well.
I mean, sometimes it lost. He did pretty well.
Like, you were just like, what's the point?
He did pretty well. All right.
It basically just depended if he won a game, how many 4+s he can make.
Ogres. Ogres.
Right, this is... I love watching ogres.
You want ogres to be an S.
Yeah, like, this is what I think. Like, I love ogres, okay?
I love hype when they're on the tabletop.
Every time I'm with ogres, I'm like, they're going to charge, they're going to do mortal wounds, they're going to do this. The fire belly's going to stop things doing -1 to hit. We're going to have yetis piling in 6 inches. You're going to have a frost saber with his lads coming in.
Yeah.
Like, and then every time they charge and they all die, and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
And then the only army that actually does well is the Stonehorns. And even then, they bounce.
I think
off
it's
most
just
stuff
a person does well. Iron Gutsman, shout out.
I'm sorry. When was the last time Iron Gutsman ran ogres?
Practice him with Worlds, man. Like, leave him alone. Like,
What was it? What did he play at Worlds?
Dragons.
Wasn't it? Flies.
Or was it flies?
Was it flies?
Yeah.
Was it flies?
Why would you give Iron Gutsman flies? One of the few people who's able to like show like Iron Gutsman's got the most incredible like board awareness, and like he's got the best macro and micro of some of the players I've seen in the world. Flies. Like the army that requires no thought. Flies. Okay. Anyway, that's a weird team pick.
So like I enjoy ogres on day 1. And you, by laughing, you know what I mean.
It's like the pub you go to before you go out.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, I like it here. It's all right.
This is
Are you
fun.
staying here? We're not staying here.
No.
We are leaving here.
Like, game 1.
Yeah.
You're like, fucking ogres. Here we go.
Let's go.
Against like, I don't know, flesh eaters. You're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And I have the best time streaming that.
Yeah, if ogres are playing in their tier, they're fun. Also, like it's heartbreaking watching ogres because you're like, okay, Stonehorn, sure. Like, okay, Beast Rider, sure. Like, and then like you just pray that someone's brought 180 Noblars, and you're like, you shouldn't have done that, but like you pray.
But like, I'm with you.
I'm with you.
You know?
Like I'm committed to this. Yeah. What's that? Lead belchers, get in my pockets. I'm gonna take you home with me.
You've
Love
got
you.
iron guts.
Yeah.
That's 3 damage.
Let's
go.
Like, yeah.
I just like.
So what I'm alluding to is there's no list diversity, so that's a problem.
Yep.
And then it's a very old book, so there's no list diversity for years, other than.
That one man carried the faction.
Like in a heart. One human. So yeah, like just not. So and then they have shooting in their book, but they have no shooting in game. I'm sure like every ogre player will tell me, oh, actually blood vultures.
Actually, the cannons.
Yeah, they've got nothing to really say about in that front. So they're a single kind of like build in a combat build. They're a mid-board combat build, and they're outclassed by other combat armies. So like they you can do some really clever play with putting stuff on objectives, but like I'm gonna put them here because like they just deserve a new book. They're getting a new book soon, so like they just deserve a new book. So.
I really enjoy, like I said, I love watching them play on day one. But as soon as if some miracle they get to day 2, like when we want to see them, because they'll be on all wins, right? They just get trashed by anything that's
They should
better.
be getting trashed on day 1, to be fair. But like, yeah,
But you know, by some miracle, they get through. Like,
yes, yeah, I like. It's just like. Bad.
But every ogre player is like, I know exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Like, and again, this is a book and war scroll problem for this army. I think that ogre book is such an incredibly easy book to rewrite, and that comes through in the coverage sometimes, because sometimes you can't not be frustrated by like you want to see these things. We were talked about Skaven and Gits because we love them being on the table because we like what they are, like what they do as well. Because there's what they are, there's what they do, how they're represented, and another way. But like the ogre's book is just frustrating because it's just dull to see.
Oh yeah,
like and that's rough. In chat, can you let them know what we're doing the tier based on, please? Okay, 4 left. Let's do Fire Slayers, get it out of the way. Oh no, actually, let's hype ourselves up a little bit. Slaves to Darkness.
So I've got to go B.
Slaves to Darkness?
Yeah. Just because of the list diversity.
Is low.
Is really low. Like, anytime I see
Varangard Archeon.
Yeah, it's Varangard Archeon or all Varangard.
But that's because... yes. But there is loads of list diversity there.
Also, if they do try and do something interesting, it's the most boring army in the world.
I don't know.
Because the interesting build, the hipster, is going, haha, I'm going to take like 6 Demon Princes and I'm going to make things turn off.
When we saw AD play, that was amazing. Those 3, like, that was at Super Series. You had the 3 Demon Princes.
Well, yeah, that's what makes them to me B.
Yeah,
it's like, that was an A list. But then I've got Archeon where I'm like, lol.
But
okay.
Archeon, like, I actually think that, like, to explain to the audience, Archeon's an incredibly fun piece to describe. Like, Eye of Ed Sheeran, always funny. Like, love that.
Yeah.
Like, Archeon's super fun. Like, putting stuff in the sword is great.
Hilarious.
That's a good spike. Like, that's really funny. I love that. So, I think Archeon's a great piece to talk about. I think Varangard are a great piece to talk about. I love that. I kind of dig the Chaos War Shrine. Yeah, because it's a real spike.
Okay.
War Shrine doesn't go off at that key moment. That's pretty huge. Like, they're pretty resource light because they've spent all their points on Archeon. And also I think there's a million other builds of the army.
I just think there's just like... It's just the lack of what I see with them.
In list diversity.
Yeah.
But I think the one list that we see has got a lot of moving parts.
Okay.
Like, it's got a lot...
But this is what I mean, like, I'm happy with B. Like... B is average, right? I enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, you know, I enjoy watching them play, but I wouldn't say I love it.
Because we basically we enjoy every army C and above to watch.
Oh yeah.
Like
Except
that's what we're saying.
But except for Nighthorn.
Okay. So we're like C and above. We're like in love with watching.
Yeah.
Like
there's not like I mean there's 3 armies in D or below.
Yeah.
And honestly,
that's fine. Out of 22.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty good so far. I think you've got lots to say about that. I think
to be fair, Archeon is
he's also the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, you get Skeletor on the table.
And you're just like, this guy, he's I hate this guy. 1+ rerollable save.
Bellacor's in there.
Bellacor's fun.
Bellacor's fun. Bellacor's in there. Slaves to Darkness, Demon Prince.
I think he was more fun before his new model.
I think Bellacor's good now.
When it was like, you ripped the unit on the secret piece of paper, and then like, it was hidden, and then you went, ha-ha, I activated my trap card.
It was the unit you knew I was going to pick.
Yeah, it was this unit that you clearly knew of.
Yeah. I think Archeon's really good. Like, I would almost be tempted by A, because I think like because when you talk about the other gods, when you talk about the other gods, yeah, you're really talking about like just them in unison. This is kind of like a Sigmar fair where you're talking about like these like the mortals. Like, I think he's the big bad.
I just think it could be more interesting.
What on the tabletop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like
it's just like
I think it could be more interesting if players
for
bought
me,
more diverse
like,
lists.
if I had Archeon, I'm like, cool, he's going to charge forward, he's going to cast Mystic Shield, he's going to have a 1+ rollable save. The army can't deal with him. Cool.
Yeah.
That's it. Or it's Varangard. Actually, Varangard quite fun.
Varangard are fun. Pilot attack twice.
Pilot attack, yeah.
Charge. Like also Knights of the Empty Throne.
But I think Igneth are more fun.
Kotek.
I think Dinch is on par.
Okay, yeah. But
I
Knights of the
think
Empty
B
Throne.
tier works.
Knights of the Empty Throne is the most fun thing to always be in a rules
Do
conversation.
you know why? This is. Do you know why Knights of the Empty Throne?
Me and Adam are like 3 rounds deep at an event. We're seeing Knights of the Empty Throne. They both look at each other and we're like, can someone find out how this TO was ruled? This commandability, please. Like,
And then when the TO comes up, he goes, oh, I don't really know. And you're like, fuck me. And then every time we go to another event,
how have they
somehow
ruled this?
it's ruled fucking completely
So
differently.
this is a commandability only available to Knights of the Empty Throne, Slaves of Darkness, which reduces the number of models counting on an objective.
And every time it takes an
on
hour.
a 3-up, so you roll
An
if there's-
hour!
Yeah, if you roll 10, if you roll 10 dice, there's 10 models in the unit, 11 in Bliss Bobs. Don't get at me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've got the 11
you roll 3. You roll 11 3-ups, and then any of those you reduce down. But great questions. How's that affect Gargants? How's the fact?
Stop it.
Like,
Does it round down or does it round up?
yeah, okay.
It's
It's 1.
Oh.
Like anyway. Anyway, so that's a rough one. But I think that there's some great diversity in that list, in that book, and there's loads of cool units.
I think because of like how bad the list can be.
Oh yeah, I mean, someone could make a terrible Slaves of Darkness list.
And you look at it, you're like, fuck me.
That would be an amazing thing to do. Like just
I
build
really
the
wanna
worst
watch,
slaves.
like,
What's
you have
the
to-
worst slaves in the comments? Link me to your worst
But you
Slaves
have
of
to-
Darkness list.
We have one
Tweet me.
game. The worst cities army
Yeah.
versus the worst slaves army. Battle report.
That would actually be really cool because like it would just be humans being rubbish. Like it would be so good,
To
right?
be fair, I'm pretty sure there's a mini wargame in it.
Shout out Dave, love you loads, right? I do. He's great. I talk
Is
to him
he?
quite a bit. Yeah, he's a
Oh,
great
that's
guy.
lovely.
Great guy. Okay. So we've got 3 left. We'll do Fire Slayers. Just get them out of the way.
Fucking D.
Yeah, just C.
I don't know what's anything.
No, they can be in C. They're not in D.
I liked the Magma Droth build.
I like the Magma Droth build as well. Other than that, they're a combat army. Their shooting unit got destroyed and it's terrible. They've got 8 units that look the same, and then there's also a Magma Droth. And to be fair, all the Magma Droths look the same. Shout out to Bill Souza, who painted his 3 Magma Droths different colours. So he was like, red one's shooty one, yellow one's fighty one. I was like, you are my hero.
Literally, why? Right, if you're a Fire Slayers player,
Yeah.
take note.
Yeah, paint your Magma Droths.
Okay.
And in fact, also, your Hearthguard Berserker block, do 10 with 1 head. Like, just do a different... They've all got mohawks. Just be like, red one is the Battlesmith. I'll be like, I love you to pieces. Yeah?
Yeah.
Blue one is the
They
other
don't all need to look the same.
one. Yeah.
Think.
Come on. Yeah, that's right. Your purple suns don't need to be purple, and your Fire Slayers don't need to all look the same.
I believe in you.
Yeah. Could I be even
Alright.
risky? Just try a different skin tone. I know it's a bit bold.
Wait,
but
what?
just- Try it.
What?
Just one time.
You can paint your models how you like.
Like, just do that. Anyway, all right. So
Don't
2
be
left.
constricted.
2 left. Beast of Chaos.
A. I have to say C. Like, they're one of those boring armies I've ever seen play.
Are
Right, so they used to be hilarious because we're like,
Because they were
ha beast lose.
Because they were terrible. Now they're
Like-
one of the better armies in the game.
And I think for me it's because of Worlds. Well, we had the Dragon Ogre versus
Everywhere.
Dragon Ogre mirror,
Everywhere. Dragon Ogres everywhere.
and you were like,
I don't think they're a boring army to play though. Like the narrative's fantastic. The models look like models. Like they've got an incredibly strong theme. Like they don't have like necessarily like tons of overlapping synergy, but they've got some great like
You know what?
Stranglethorn Vines. Devolve is amazing.
S tier.
Why?
Because anytime I see Dragon Ogres rally, I'm like, fuck, let's go. Because you're always like, get them all. Get them all.
Get them all. Yeah, there's not one dragon ogre or one wound. You ruined your life.
He's just there like this. I've got it. I've done it.
Dragon ogre exchange was fun. Like, oh my god, like when we're like describing like what a Lumineth army does, yeah. Then we cut to the game where like they've drawn priority on table 3, which does mean, yeah, like you get like the most,
ability is literally peak Warhammer.
That is
so
perfect.
we've drawn what priority, and now my army gets to heal.
Wait, on a 4-up.
But yeah,
On a 4-up.
Only on a 4+.
Yes.
And
yeah.
if I fail it, then
Yeah. Like the Dragon ogre exchange was cool. Bulgors are great because they're big swole boys. Like they're not
Ungol
great
Raiders
in game. Huh?
Ungol Raiders though.
Perfect.
Fucking mint.
Also Centigors. They're drunk lads on the lash with some
I
spears.
am genuinely so tempted by 30. Just go to an event, and anytime they use their ability, I've got like down a pint or something. Like, you just sit there and go, fucking, let's go, boys.
They get drunk and they get +1 to hit, but then they're +1 to be hit. It's great. Like,
I mean, that does make sense though.
I honestly think that they're in A. Like, I think
right.
super strong theme.
Also, you can take a unit. You can take 10 cockatrices.
You can.
Hilarious.
Yeah, you've literally shown that there's different builds. Like, they're quite fragile. Like, they can fall apart pretty easy as well. Like the herdstone's fun. Like sacrificing the goat.
Like the fun.
Explaining the herdstone's really fun.
Brilliant. But one of the most fun things about now is, can they destroy the herdstone?
Yeah, that's fun.
And it's like, oh, they do it.
Yeah, that's really fun. So yeah, I think they're great. I think that they've got loads to say on the tabletop. The units look pretty different as well because like Enlightened or Skyfires, like the discs profile is very different to like let's say like some Ungor or some other stuff.
Yeah.
The Dragon Ogres obviously look very different.
I love
as well.
having them on like -5 rend.
Yeah, that's also
Just like I'm a goat. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's it. Like you also kind of root for them because they're rubbish, right? Like the goats.
Yeah, you're like, oh, or this Ungor Raider that's never seen combat in his life. I'm gonna shoot you, mate.
Yeah. The absolute balls on a unit of 10 Ungor Raiders who pre-game move and look at Archeon and are like, I've got this.
You know what?
Let's go.
I want to take you out, mate. Fuck you.
Khorne.
So this is a really hard one because I've not seen Khorne recently.
So I saw them at Summer Slaughter.
So just without casting them, I put them at B.
Okay.
Right, because I enjoyed the Blood-Type mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
I like Scarbrand.
Well, thankfully, okay.
36 mortal wounds.
Little note before I get to where I'm getting to, but yeah.
And I like the summoning.
Okay.
I hate how easily they die.
All fair. I think like any mechanic which relies on my opponent killing my stuff, I really don't like. Yeah, and I hate describing.
That's hilarious to watch.
It's funny to watch. I just like people that like say like, oh, Magnus did nothing wrong. The same people will also be like, oh, Skulls to the Skull Throne, and I'm like, ugh. Like I can't.
You know what? Actually, yeah.
When you do it professionally, when you do it for a living, you cannot hear that. Like if your work, your 40-hour week, you've had a tough week, and then your way of blowing off steam is being like, Skulls to the Skull Throne. Like I'm on your side. Yeah. Like I'll give you a cuddle and I'm with you. But when you do it week in, week out, I need a new gag.
I literally hate you.
Yeah. No, I don't hate you.
I do.
Right.
Like find something new.
Yeah.
Like just like.
But Scarbrand is one of those things where, like, I think the entire faction basically relies current version of the edition where we're streaming now relies on Scarbrand.
I'm really excited to see Khorne play because of the blood type change. Mm-hmm. But my issue is I've not seen it yet, so I can't really watch it. But Khorne is so like counterintuitive because to me it should play like Ironjaws.
Yeah.
But it plays like Tzeentch. In the way that like
yeah.
So it should be a, I'm gonna smash forward, lol.
Yeah.
But it's actually a, right, so I've got 14 blood type.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna like, right, I'm gonna use 4 on this, and then 2 on this.
Yeah.
And then like, there's too much math.
Yeah. There's also a lot, so someone in the chat saying Boomthirster, which is...
Boomthirster, hilarious.
Is it though? Because he's just kind of like he's like you talked about like letdowns earlier, and he's like Scarbrand is like, not the ultimate letdown.
I think the Boomthirster is the funniest because like the whole point you're like, oh, if he rolls a 6 to wounds, you get 4 mortal wounds, and then he misses all of his attacks, and you're like, ah.
Yeah, you're like, what have you done to like? So number one, you've brought a Khorne army, all of your battle line, and like several heroes to make one Boomthirster charge.
Yeah.
And what has happened? 0.
But it's okay because you can make him strike twice.
Yes, you can. And then he
So
fails
you
again.
get 2 chances,
Yeah.
and then do you know what happens?
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah, because that's the only build-up you've got in the game.
Yeah.
Like, there is some summoning, and then now you've got Scarbrand, and like, well, not now. You've always had Scarbrand, so Scarbrand's got the opportunity to like.
I would like to see I
like watching Scarbrand pop up.
to me like they're B, but I need to see them again. The new rules.
Like,
But you've seen them, right?
I've seen them.
So like,
I've seen them.
How did
Like,
you feel watching them?
I just watched people like just yeet themselves, and then like the Scarbrand just take them off the board.
Do you think it would be more interesting if you had a really good player playing Khorne who was using their blood tithe insanely well?
Not as much as Sinesh. I think Sinesh has got more options on that front.
Okay.
Like the thing is all I'm really watching someone do is move either a Boom Thirster or Scarbrand towards the enemy, and all I can do is screen in my brain, why are you there? Like it's like tough for me as a caster because it's so monosyllabic from the Khorne player. Sure, they've got thank you. It's a one note. Like they're using loads of tech to do the thing, which is clever. Yeah? Like, so they're doing lots, like, which kind of gets lost in the minutiae. Because I'm just like, by the way, he's actually piling in from 6 inches. You can see he's charged, and because he's charged, he's stomped and wiped out the unit. He gets an additional 3 inches charge, and then he gets to strike. But really, all I'm ever talking about is like, there's that big guy. If he hits you, he dies. But why are you letting him hit you? I'm confused. Like, why is like when I watch people like, how is he not dead from shooting? How is he not just dead? Like, I'm just very confused. Like a lot of the time, and he moves like. It's a frustrating book because, again, list diversity is in the toilet, so that's true. Although, Tom Kwan did with Skull Crushers the other day, but it had Scarbrand in the list. So I think he just had, not Skull Crushers,
Blood
Jugs.
Crushers.
No, Skull Crushers. No, I mean Skull Crushers.
You're right, no.
The 3-up armor save.
Yeah, you got Skull Crushers and Blood
He had
Crushers.
5 units of 3, which is just like 75 wounds. It's just like, I'm going to wait here while Scarbrand moves towards you, basically, which is quite clever. And I liked it, but it's still the same thing. And it's just frustrating, because very much like with Idneth, Idneth put a skill cap on, not a skill cap, a glass ceiling on combat, and then Khorne come in, and they're like, hope we make it into the mid-board. Like, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, which is disappointing, because my frustration comes from
I think
wanting
with
the
Khorne,
army to be...
To me, like, there's so much there,
Yes.
but it's just not being translated. So, like,
Maybe.
there's a lot... I think there's a lot of play there, but the people that have been playing Khorne, it sounds, again, horrible, but probably aren't good enough to get it to where I want to see.
Maybe, but also I think, like, we would need, like, a lot of... when we stream into an audience of, like, people who are like us, who play in tournaments and are interested in very techie armies, immediately we lose 95% of, like, anyone who's interested in Warhammer.
Literally, yeah.
Like, maybe more, right? So we already lose, like, a huge portion of the audience, right? And so... like, it just isn't engaging. Like, Scarbrand's engaging for an audience, I think, because you're just like, big guy smash, right? And they get that. But, like, the techie elements which makes that particular Khorne list or those Khorne lists really interesting is such a small group of people who were interested that I just don't think it's entertaining because there's absolutely no way I'm going to talk to
Like, trying to explain this player can 6-inch pile in twice, do this, then do that is really fucking hard.
Really fucking hard. Like, and I think it's like, I'm going to put it in C.
Yeah,
Because,
okay.
Like, I put it down there as well.
That's fair.
So that's the tier. Obviously, I'm going to post this on Twitter without context, so like it just triggers people.
Spicy.
So spicy. Yeah, interesting. Like, what did you think? Like now, like if you like any sort of like thoughts post like going through the process, like what you do and don't enjoy. You've discovered you hate death armies. That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, I really dislike watching death.
I don't know why that's about.
I fucking hell, man. I've realised also, I think we're both very different in how we see the game.
Super important.
Like, which is
Super
quite fun.
Like yeah, of course. Like why would it would be so boring having casters like that just enjoy the one element?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like, what do you think?
Like,
you
I think I like the fast-paced smash. How do you deal with that? Whereas you're more into like the techie.
I have to not be myself when I'm casting.
Yeah.
You know when we first did round 1 of Worlds, and you were like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Imagine I already don't be me when we do casting, and then I went even more dumbed down at Worlds."
Oh, that was weird.
Like,
Worlds was hard.
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 Like Yeah, it's interesting, like, because like the stuff that makes games truly fascinating to me are stuff that like absolutely I don't think very many people are interested in.
Boring.
And also, unbeknownst to you people at home, I'm currently editing a battle report, yeah, and me and Adam talked about it, and I'm trying to bring it under 20 minutes, right? But even then, like, I'm losing so much context.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to be like, what is the point where context is valuable to people like Toby or Owen or other people like that in the chat, where they think it's valuable to watch, but also I don't just immediately lose 90% of the people.
But then to a Zoomer, it's too long. I literally, Rob sent it to me. I was like, can you watch this? I was like, no, it's too long, mate. Like, 30 seconds are under, baby. Like.
Anyway, Adam, thanks for doing this with me. It's been good. Good luck at your event of the weekend.
Yeah.
Whatever. Top
Like,
Beast of Chaos player in the world at the minute, by the way.
4+ more wounds in it.
Top Beast of Chaos player in the world at the minute, by the way.
Smart.
Chat, thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate you loads. Thanks to our production assistant. You've been valuable bringing us drinks, so thank you. And I hope everyone has enjoyed it. If you do like it, obviously like, comment, subscribe. And then there's a Patreon you can join, which would be super sweet. So please and thank you. See you soon and goodbye.